The Poker Players Championship moves online for the first time. This is the World Series of Poker. We are coming to you from the Aria Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we welcome you inside the Poker Go studio. Jeff Platt alongside WSOP Bracelet winner and WPT champion David Williams. David, quite the prestigious event that we have in store today.
Poker Players Championship, $25,000 buy-in. This is a big one every year in the summer in Las Vegas, so glad to see it moved online.
It just sounds right, that $25,000 buy-in Poker Players Championship on GGPoker. Final table, cards up coverage coming up for you. But first, we set the scene. And David, with a prestigious tournament comes a pretty stacked field. With a pretty stacked field comes a chip leader by the name of Jason Koon. Probably no surprise to see his name on top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, Jason Koon is one of the best players in the world. You can ask any of the other top players, they'll all put his name up there. I've played with him. He's absolutely fearless at the table, makes the right decisions. Also just a great guy. So excited to watch him play, get to see some cards up, maybe learn some strategy watching him play. So, yeah.
A guy, when you sit down, it's like you love seeing him at the table because he is indeed a great guy, but he's also a stone cold killer.
I mean, I'd prefer to watch him and not be at the same table with him.
I think that's fair. And David, this is something that we touch on every single week, but he's a guy who brings in a wealth of experience to the final table, and that's just got to help immensely when you're approaching a big moment like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said, or it's been said, he's played tournaments where the buy-in is probably larger than the first and second place in this field. He frequently plays the $1 million buy-in tournaments or the six-figure buy-in tournaments in the high roller circuit. So I don't think he's really feeling the pressure of this event in any sense. I think he's just going to make wise decisions and want to do his best.
Well, we said it was a stacked field. We have Shankar Pillai, we have Big Hooney, Chris Unikin, Christian Rudolph, Aram Zobian. No soft spots are popping up too often in a 25K.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of a buy-in so large. If you're going to see someone that's not really as good at poker, they're either going to be sort of a whale who's just having fun or someone who won a satellite to get there. But in general, at a 25,000, one of these high buy-in events, you're going to get players that are used to playing high-stakes poker.
All right, we'll get to know some of these final table lists in just a little bit. But first, let's take a look at the facts and the figures that surround the 25K Poker Players Championship, event number 70 of the 2020 World Series of Poker. And we say this every week, largest ever prize pool for a WSOP online event. It's a $10 million prize pool. Largest ever first place prize for a WSOP online event. That first place prize pays out more than $1.8 million. 407 entries in this one, 55 spots paid. So when you consider the rake, a slight overlay from the good people at GG throwing $28,500 more into the prize pool, that is not going to hold them back because GG has given us a couple of main event satellite seats to give away to you, the viewer at home. More information on that in just a little bit. So David, how has GG performed as the host of the World Series of Poker, in your opinion?
So I think every poker player knows when they come to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker, they're coming because it's big.
Yeah.
Large events, a lot of large prize pools, big number of entries. And I'm not surprised to see that GGPoker did the same. I mean, these events have been huge, lots of entries, lots of prize pools. It's still going on event 70. So they did a great job of replicating the live World Series of Poker online this summer.
And one really, really big one to come next week. All right, let's take a look at our leaderboard for the final table of the 25K Poker Players Championship. We said it at the top of the show. There he is, one of the best players in the game, Jason Koon, on top of that leaderboard. Shankar Pillai right there. Christian Rudolph, the German, is in third. Former World Series of Poker main event final tableist Aram Zobian is in fourth. Big Hooney rounding out the top five. Some online sickos and Alexei Panikov and Alexei Boyka. It's Paulius Plasinides' nailed it. First WSOP catch. This is quite a way to kick off your WSOP career. And in ninth is the Brazilian phenom, the Brazilian superstar, and that would be Bruno Batiun. So David, while they are definitely deeper than they've been in some of the broadcasts that we've done, I think this setup allows for Jason Koon to really put some pressure on his opponents.
Yeah, unfortunately for the other players, the person with the most chips probably has the most experience in these situations with the large pay jumps. So the players with the shorter stacks are going to be waiting for someone to bust, because every time they do, they make more money.
Sure.
The players in the middle are kind of in a weird spot, because they can't really do much, because they're hoping there's so many people below them that could get knocked out to make more money, which allows the people at the top, such as Jason Koon and Shankar Pillai, to really apply pressure to those stacks. So I think we're going to see that executed, and it's really going to be really difficult for the people to move up who are at the bottom in the middle.
Well, that leads us into this next graphic perfectly. That's why this man is a professional. So let's take a look at the payouts. We set at more than $1.8 million up top. Our final 9 are guaranteed $154,000. There is one more look at the leaderboard. It is Jason Koon starting off the day as the chip leader. It is Bruno Batillon as the short stack. I feel like, to your point, spots 2 through 8 are kind of waiting for Batillon to bust.
Well, not necessarily 2. I mean, the difference in 2 and Jason Koon and Shankar stack is minimal, 5 big blinds. All it takes is Jason to fold one hand, Shankar raises, picks up some blinds.
Sure.
He flip-flops with chip leader. But yeah, the pressure is really on those middle stacks, because if you're at the bottom, you don't have much to lose anyway, But if you're, say 4, 5, 6, 7, you really would hate to bust before those guys in 8 and 9 bust. So yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult for those guys.
Yeah, that first pay jump is worth about $55,000, and they only escalate from there. Again, more than $1.8 million up top, in addition to a World Series of Poker Europe package. They're paying for your main event buy-in, your flight, and your hotel. All right, what do you say we get to know some of these guys? We know Jason Koon pretty well, but he is our chip leader for this event. So we have to start off our bio boards with Jason Koon. Number 9 on the all-time money list, more than $31 million in live tournament earnings. Originally from Charleston, lives in Vancouver, does have a place in Vegas, so he can hit up Las Vegas for all the big high rollers. This is his 8th World Series of Poker final table. Jason Koon, just one of the best of the best.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised to learn he doesn't have a World Series of Poker bracelet already. I kind of just assumed that. But to find out he doesn't, maybe today's the day.
Maybe it is. His best finish in the series was a second place finish in the 2012 3K No Limit / Pot Limit Omaha Heads Up Mix. We had discussed that a couple weeks ago. He lost to Leaf Force. Still about $2 million in World Series of Poker tournament earnings. But let's take a look at one of the hands that helped Jason Koon get to where he is right now. This hand came with 10 left in the Poker Players Championship, so they are on the final table bubble at this point, and we see Alexei Ponikaz with the ace-5 of clubs just limp in the cutoff there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's trying to play cautious here on the final table bubble. Wants to play the hand, but doesn't want to put too many chips in the pot. I personally probably would have raised there, put some pressure on my opponents.
Jack Salter and Jason Koon in the mix from the blinds. It comes Jack 9 deuce with 2 clubs, so Alexei flops the ace-5 flush draw. It's a pair of 9s for Koon, nothing really doing for Jack Salter. $362,500 in the pot. It checks around to Alexei.
In position, likely the best hand, best draw. Pretty standard bet here from Alexei. Well,
he bets 1/3 pot there. Jason Koon not going anywhere here.
Yeah, middle pair. You're going to call, see what your opponent does on the turn, see what comes, might improve.
The turn is a 10, so Koon does pick up the open-ended straight draw. You will check one more time.
It is a danger straight, though, because if you do hit a 7,
sure,
you only have a 1-card straight, and if you hit the top side of it, you can't love it.
Still fairly dangerous. Alexei bets about 60% pot at this point. Jason Koon does make the call, and bingo, bango, bongo, as they say. 4 of clubs on the river. Easy game if you're Alexei Ponikaz. Now just the question is, how much value does he look for? He'll fire about 1.1 million.
Yeah, and you see, I think, Koon here. One of the other benefits of calling the turn is your opponent might slow down and check the river. His opponent decided to continue here. You can't really love your third pair. So many hands that you beat to, it's not really worth the risk, I think, to look it up for 1 million chips.
And he does lay it down, and Alexei Ponikaz does pick up the pot. I mean, listen, for those of you who are pretty new to the game, who are just starting things out, I think it's safe to say that big folds are just as important as your big calls and your all-in.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always about showing a hand where someone just calls and they were either right or they had the best hand. I mean, sometimes, you got to lay down the best, or you got to lay down the worst, and you got to fold when you're behind. He put money in the pot when he was ahead and wisely figured out he was beat and decided to fold.
Second in chips from the great state of New York. The Americans running 1 and 2 on the leaderboard for this one. That would be Shankar Pillai. He is looking for his 3rd WSOP bracelet. He won the 3K in 2007 and then won the bracelet winners only event last year for about $72,000. This is his 43rd World Series of Poker cash, his 4th career WSOP final table. I imagine you've run into Shankar plenty throughout your career.
Very familiar with him. Really tough player, really good player, so not surprised to see him here. I didn't know he went to play this event, but...
Did travel after a good run in the WSOP.com bracelet events, his 13th cash of the 2020 online series. His featured hand also came on the final table bubble when there were 10 players left. We take you back to that exact same table with Jason Kuhn, with Jack Salter, with Bruno Batillon, with Alexei Panikov. And we start this one with Shankar, who plays under the screen name Saquon Barkley, raising it up to 320K. It's Salter with 8 here. It's Salter on a short stack. It's pretty standard from Salter.
Yeah, I mean, both these hands play themselves. You're 5-handed, you've got ace-jack suited, standard raise.
Yeah.
You got 2 8s. What are you going to do? You know, you don't want to call, and then there's so many overcards that can come, and your opponent's likely to be opening a lot of hands, so he decides to just basically shove. He leaves 80 in.
Right, just in
fun.
case an elimination goes down at the other table, you pick up a pay jump.
Exactly.
But with that 80K left, he will have to call it off after using one of those great GG OMG emotes. So it's Saquon with the ace-jack of clubs. It's Jack Salter with the 8s.
Yeah, that's actually just like an online kind of tip there. He's giving the chance of someone else at their table to bust.
Right.
So maybe
and
if
he
does
bust, ladders, he makes 30K. 40K.
Ladders up and gets 8th place. Ninth place instead of 10th if things go wrong.
It's a pretty poor flop if you're Jack Salter, as it comes ace, king, 6. Salter needing an 8 on the river. It does not come. He waves goodbye, and it's Jack Salter eliminated in 10th place. So Shankar doesn't have the resume that Jason Kuhn has, but this is a
he's got 2 bracelets.
Capable player, right?
He's got 2 bracelets, which not to say bracelets are what you have to have, you know, but I mean that means a lot. But Shankar is a very good player, and I would not be surprised to see if he took this down.
Very strong player, very well respected player, as is our 3rd place player entering today, and that would be Christian Rudolph out of Germany. Enters the day with more than 5.5 million in chips, studied geotechnology in school, career tournament earnings of more than $2 million. He is an online sicko as well. This is his 4th WSOP final table. He finished 2nd at the World Series of Poker Europe, 25K for more than $500,000. And David, whenever you see a German at the final table, you got to be wary, you got to be cautious.
Especially a high buy-in tournament, 25K and higher, yes. I'm not super familiar with Christian Rudolph, but I'm not surprised to hear he's sort of known in the online or the high roller circuit, either one, so yeah.
Yeah, he's just popping up in the live high roller scene. We've seen him online plenty. All right, and with 10 players left, it was Christian Rudolph in the big blind. This was a super key hand for him. At our other 5-handed table, Big Hoonie, Chris Unikin, raising it up with the ace-9 in the cutoff. Rudolph started this hand with about 30 bigs, so pretty easy defend here with the 6-8 of diamonds.
Yeah, and he flops a flush draw here. You're out of position, so I think he's obviously going to check call here. Definitely not going anywhere.
Unikin with the ace of diamonds, so a couple backdoor draws for Chris Unikin. He'll check back 10 of diamonds on the turn, so it is the flush for Christian Rudolph. It is the ace-high flush draw for Chris Unikin, 615K in the pot here, and Rudolph decides to lead for 1/3 pot. Big Hoonie with that ace of diamonds, going to come in for a raise here on the turn.
Yeah, he's got the ace of diamonds. He's got overcard to the board, representing king, queen-ish type hands. His opponent did just defend the big blind, so he knows his opponent could have pretty weak holdings or could just be betting a 10 or something. So I think a raise here, he's trying to give himself a chance to take it down without having to improve on the river.
Rudolph does make the call, 1.9 million in the middle. Another 7 pops up on the river. And is Chris Unikin going to go for it here with just ace high? Does have that valuable ace of diamonds. Does bet 1.2 million.
Right. I mean, he identifies, he incorrectly identifies his opponent as not having that strong of a hand, decides to make a bluff here to apply maximum pressure, but unfortunately for him, his opponent had a flush.
Yeah.
I think if his opponent didn't have a flush or trip 7s, the bluff probably gets through.
To your point, if he's in the mix with a 10 or even a queen, that becomes that much tougher of a call for Christian Rudolph. All right, 4th in chips entering today's play. A 2018 World Series of Poker main event final tableist. He finished 6th at that final table. That would be Aram Zobian. This is his 8th cash of the 2020 WSOP. Had that great run in 2018, ended up losing out. The eventual champion was Johnson. And his Boston Celtics are still in the playoffs. So maybe he's like got a little NBA run good going.
I can't say for how long, but
right.
But they made it through the first round, right? So.
Yeah, it might be a shorter second round for the Celts against the defending champs. So let's get to his featured hand. It came with 11 players left in the tournament. Zobian with 40 big blinds in the small blind for this one. Folds around to Chris Unica. On the button with the 6-3 of spades. Pretty decent stack. He'll make it 200K.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Big Hooney raising most buttons here, 5-handed with the chip lead at the table, applying maximum pressure.
Zobian does make the call. That's Chicken's Barbecue in the big blind. Chicken Barbecue is Paulius Plasinitis, who is also at our final table, and he flops a flush draw. Nothing doing really for our Big Hooney. Flops a gut shot.
Yeah, and you're going to see both players check. Big Hooney on the button with only 6 high, does have a gut shot, decides to check it back. Has 2 opponents, says, you know what, I'm not going to put any more chips in this pot with only 6 high.
Jack on the turn for Paulius for Chicken Barbecue, but it's Zobian taking the lead here.
A little ambitious here,
Yeah.
leading into 2 players with just king high. I mean, I think he's just saying, if neither of them hit the jack,
Right.
I'd probably just take this down here, so that's a pretty valuable pot to pick up. But unfortunately for him, his opponent has top pair and a flush draw.
Ace of clubs comes on the river. And speaking of ambitious, check this out.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
jam for 2x pot.
he's able to identify if Chicken Barbecue had an ace, he's probably shoving the pre-flop when it goes raise call. I'm going to represent something here that he can't call with, which is why I would have liked to see Chicken Barbecue just shove all in on the turn. You've got top pair and a flush draw when your opponent leads into you. This pot doesn't even go down like that if he makes that move.
Big pickup for Zobian again. 6th place finish in the 2018 main event, looking at another massive score to his poker resume. This guy's resume is full of massive scores. We call him Big Hooney. That would be Chris Unikin out of East Carolina University, now lives in Las Vegas, married with 2 kids. He has career earnings of more than $8 million. A first or a second place finish for him today would be his biggest career score, but you've seen Big Hooney for years now, right? You've run into him all the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, super nice guy, lives here in Vegas, frequently see him at the hockey games and we talk, and you know, I'm a big fan. He's a really good guy, nice person, always always there for you when you need him. So seeing him at this final table is really cool for me. But I like to see that he's been going to the high rollers lately, been putting himself out there, and has been having the results. So I'm not surprised to see him here either.
We're going to rewind a little bit and take you back to when this tournament had 32 players left. It was Big Hooney on a relative short stack, still comfortable with 20 bigs. That is Sammy Kelapuro, who rips it for less than 10 bigs with the ace-queen. It's Big Hooney on the button with the king-jack of diamonds.
It's a little ambitious. He doesn't have many chips himself.
Yeah.
He knows his opponent doesn't have many options. I mean, they don't have that many chips, so the range is going to be pretty wide. He decides to rip it himself. I mean, you don't want to just call 600,000 and leave 600 behind, so he's just going to put it all in. David Peters in the small blind barely has any chips himself, so you're not really worried about him, and you don't want the big blind in there.
Big blind 2 is also relatively short, so we have an all-in, an all-in, and an all-in. And that's a pretty good flop, folks. If you're Chris Unikin with the king-jack going up against the ace-queen, we'll squeeze it, see if one of the 2 remaining aces pop up. It is a none across.
We saw the big blind did have an ace too, so it's actually an even better spot than you could imagine. I mean, that's just one of those things where you get pretty lucky. You hit the king there, you've got 2 opponents drawn almost dead, but it goes the other way. If they hit the ace there, then you're in trouble yourself. So he got it in, not so good, but it worked out for him.
That's part of the poker tournament, right? I mean, you got to win your flips, your 60-40s, your 40-60s, all of it, just to have a shot at the final table. All right, we've discussed him plenty. You've seen him in some of our featured hands. Let's talk about Alexei Ponikovs, who enters this final table with almost 4 million in chips out of Latvia. 6th place. Resides in Estonia, originally from Latvia. Career earnings of more than $400,000. This is his 10th World Series of Poker cash, but his first World Series of Poker final table. Let's get right to his featured hand. It came with 13 players left, and it folded to Alexei in the small blind. So blind versus blind that you're about to see here. Alexei Ponikovs versus Hamburger That is John Thrower. Hamburger, pretty short stack that Alexei decides to limp in the small blind. Comes Jack, Jack 10, jacks and 10s for John Thrower. Alexei has the king of diamonds, so a couple nice backdoor draws for him. He bets the minimum.
Yeah, the limp lead is kind of a thing you see very often. Like, oh, my opponent doesn't have much. I'm just going to lead. They probably give it up. He ran into the 10.
Which decides to raise to 225K, and Alexei not going anywhere, makes the call. Does turn a gut shot here.
Pretty ambitious call.
Yeah.
With the king high. Your opponent could have a jack, and you're almost dead.
Alexei checks.
People don't usually raise you there with total air.
True. Thrower checks back. Six of spades on the river. Alexei checks once again.
Now, is the hamburger going to try to get some value here?
The answer is yes for half pot. And it's Alexei with king high in the tank.
I think the reason we're watching this hand, I
Yep.
thought he was going to make a move and jam it in, but he decided to just call him with king high incorrectly, but I guess he's still here, so.
That's true. That's true. But I think that shows us he is not going to be scared. And then you wonder if some of the other players at the final table have picked up on that and are considering that when planning future river value bets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
Or
if they've
bluff.
seen that hand yet. I don't
Sure.
know if they went back or if they're watching this broadcast and if it'll catch up. But unfortunately for him, he only has 19 big blinds, so
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of chips to kind of make those ambitious raises and calls with. So we may not see a lot of that from him at this final table.
All right, next up, he's an online legend, to say the least. We know him as Blade Runner 1. We're about to know him as Alexei Boyka, who enters this final table with more than 3.2 million in chips. Born in Belarus, lives in Russia. This is his 8th cash of the 2020 World Series of Poker. He won the EPT Malta main back in 2016. I mean, this guy's just one of the many online sickos out there, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm personally not familiar with him, but I don't play that much online poker anymore. Living in America, we
Right.
don't
It's
really
a little
play
tougher for us,
WSOP.com, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard his name, and 16 big blinds again, though. He's kind of in that same pressure spot where he's going to want one of the smaller stacks to bust out before he really makes any moves. So unless he gets into a cooler, picks up a monster hand, I don't think we're going to see many hands being played from him at the beginning.
All right, with 19 players left, this was a pretty key hand for Boyka, to say the very least. He was in the small blind again. He plays as Blade Runner 1. This is entree vault in the cutoff with 40 bigs, pretty standard raise with the ace-10 of hearts.
Two kings, just what you want to see.
So
when you're
pretty.
deep in the tournament.
Off about a 30 big stack to start this hand. He'll come in with a 3-bet, about 3.5x or so.
Your ace-10 here. You could go either way. You could give this hand up. You are six-handed, so unlikely you were raising from the cutoff. You could call. You could jam if you want. It's unlikely you want to jam here because you're really only getting called if you're crushed. He decides to call, and unfortunately for him, he gets a flop that's going to commit him.
Right, as it comes 9-9-7 with 2 hearts. So entree vault flops the ace-high flush draw. Blade Runner's kings are best. He does lead for about 1/3 pot.
Yeah, if I'm
Just rip city.
If I'm sitting here with the ace-10 of hearts, I'm going to rip it in and be like, my opponent may fold, but if not, I've got plenty of equity, unless they're full already.
4 on the turn. Just looking to dodge an ace or a heart. I mean, just to guess he'll dodge it. I'll give you the ace-10 for, I'll give you 10-1 odds.
Oh, you're so generous. Big-time gambler.
And the river comes the 4 of diamonds, so that was a great way for Blade Runner to chip up. And again, he enters this final table 7th in chips. Running through the final table list of the 25K Poker Players Championship. 2 more players to go as Cards Up coverage starts in about 7 minutes. So let's get to know Paulius Plasanaitis. Out of Lithuania, enters this final table 8th in chips, plays on GG under Chicken Barbecue. His very first WSOP cash is a final table appearance in the 25K. Not terrible.
Yeah, I'm going to wager he's got probably some more experience than we know.
Right. Yeah, we're making him out to be this rookie. Like you said, probably a bit more experience. For a live tournament earnings of more than $50,000, let's get to his key hand. It came with 32 players left in the tournament. He's in the small blind here. We'll fold around to him. blind versus blind. Now, these spots can get a little tricky when the big blind is so short, like Hunwei Lee is, but there's still some fold equity there. And Paulius just decides to rip it in with the 9-6.
Opponent has less than 10 big blinds behind. You know, some players are a little more conservative in that spot. He decides to just jam it in with any 2, 9-6 high. Opponent had a queen.
Yeah. Looking for a spade or a 7 now is Paulius. We'll squeeze it, and it's a beautiful squeeze if you're Paulius, as we see the spade on that king right away. That was a massive spot for Paulius Plasinitis. Enters this final table as one of the shortest stacks, but not the shortest stack. The shortest stack would be Bruno Batillon. We see another Brazilian at this final table as Batillon, the #1 ranked pro in Brazil when it comes to online poker. Let's get to know Bruno just a little bit. Over $3 million in online earnings. This is his 8th cash of the 2020 online series. And David, it's Brazil representing once again at the World Series.
Yeah, I feel like every final table we've covered, I don't think the heads up that really wasn't the same structure, but every multi-table tournament, we've had a Brazilian there. Brazil is really making its mark this summer in the WSOP online on GGPoker. That's
Brazil
awesome.
is really showing out. Shout out to not only GGPoker ambassador Felipe Ramos, but also I saw that Neymar is firing the main event today, so we will be sure to keep you posted on his progress. All right, let's get to Bruno's featured hand. It came with 26 players left. Bruno in the hijack with pocket queens. Unfortunately, at the time for him, spoiler alert, James Park has aces here and about 13 bigs.
Hey, we've had some of these where the people lose.
That's true.
He does have the person covered.
That's true.
This
So
could
he
show
should stay alive.
one of the speed bumps he had on his road to the final table. We don't know just yet.
We will know soon. Queens versus aces. Buries the queen on the flop.
Jack Salter, we see big fan of the emojis.
Love the emoji usage. It's not going to be an ace on the river. It is going to be a double up for Bruno Batillon. All right, so we have met all of our final tablists. We have met all of our potential Poker Players Championship winners in 2020. Let's take a look back at the history of this event, and a very prestigious event at that. It is played as a 50K mixed game event in Las Vegas, Nevada. Chip Reese won the inaugural event, so they've named the trophy fittingly after him. It is now the Chip Reese Trophy. We'll save that one for the 50K Poker Players Championship in Las Vegas. And David, what always stands out to me about this event is that Michael Mizrachi has won the thing 3 times.
Yeah, man. I mean, he is just a phenom, and it's just crazy to see. You know, he's one of my closest friends in poker. We've been tight since we both came on the scene. Seeing his success in poker, specifically in this event, is just inspiring. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he does to this field every time, because it's not an easy field, and it's not just no limit hold'em, as you say. It's always a mixed game format, so you have to truly be good at all forms of poker. For someone to do that 3 years out of it's only been in existence for 12 or 13. Yeah. That's pretty dang impressive.
Ask him for his secrets on winning the Poker Players Championship and get back to me on that one. All right, before we wrap up, so we have a giveaway in place thanks to the good people at GGPoker. They are going to give away 4 $250 satellite seats into the main event. That's a 5K buy-in. That's a $25 million guarantee. 4 satellite seats. It does not start yet. I'll let you know when it does. But every time you hear David Williams or I say the phrase, life is good on GGPoker. There it is. There's today's phrase. Life is good on GGPoker.
Do those 2 count?
Mark it down. They do not count.
You just said it twice.
They do not count.
So
I'll let you
zero.
know when it starts. We're still at 0. But about an hour into this tournament, we're going to stop. You're going to submit the correct answer in the Twitch chat. The GGPoker mods will let you know on specifics there. So life is good on GGPoker. We have not started yet. I will give the magic command. No, we're still at 0. You keep track of it. You let us know at the end of the hour or so how often we've said it. That giveaway competition starts right now. Do you want to offer up phrase number 1?
Sure. Life is good on GGPoker.
And so now we are at 1. Be sure to keep track of that. All right, how about one final look at the leaderboard before we get this final table started? It is one that has Jason Kuhn's name on top of it. Kuhn with about 8 million in chips. That's about 40 bigs. Shankar Pillai right there with 34 big blinds. The German Christian Rudolph in 3rd. The former World Series of Poker main event final tableist Aram Zobian is in 4th place. Big Hooney Chris Unikin is in 5th. We have Alexei Ponikov, Alexei Boyka, Paulius Plasinitis out of Lithuania in 8th. Bruno Batillon in 9th. So Batillon enters this final table, David, with less than 10 bigs. Kind of all eyes on him for you, at least at the beginning of this final table?
Yes and no. I mean, all eyes are really going to be on Jason Koon because I think he's going to be involved in the majority of the pots. If he kind of like, I think it was Daniel Devorez who watched kind of
the Millionaire Maker
take over in that spot. But yes, I think the players are going to be watching Bruno Batillon because until he busts, the people above him, right above him, can't really do anything.
Jason Koon, the chip leader and the most experienced player at the table. What do you think it would mean to a guy like Jason Koon to win the Poker Players Championship and his first bracelet?
I think it would mean a lot because I know Jason is big on poker history and accomplishments. Even though he's very unassuming and he's not braggadocious or anything, I think he would like to have that accomplishment. He'd like to win a bracelet because I think he respects it. I think he respects poker and the history, and he wants to be included in that list of bracelet winners.
Jason Koon tweeted a couple days ago, he was looking back into his email, and it was a complaint to an online site about this $2 in rebuys tournament that he was playing. He's like, am I going to get my money back for this because the server wasn't working? How impressed are you with his rise to the top over this last decade or so?
It's impressive, but I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's not surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy really studies the game. He's constantly in the lab, improving. I've watched it over the years I've known him, so it's just how he is.
Who's a guy for us to look out for that's not on top of the leaderboard, but he's kind of your sleeper / dark horse going into this?
I'm a little biased. For me, it's Big Hooney, Chris Hunichin. He's a friend. He's a good poker player. I'd like to see him do well. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him. He's also been studying a lot, improving his game, especially this past 2 years or so.
This is an absolutely stacked final table, and we are pretty fired up for it. We hope that you all are as well. So we welcome you in to the 25K Poker Players Championship, event number 70 of the 2020 World Series of Poker Online. It is on GGPoker. More than $1.8 million up top on this one. And with that, let us take you to the final table of the Poker Players Championship. Here we go. Our final 9 guaranteed $154,000. And David, to start things off, just one of the quirks of GG, the seating draw.
Yeah, the old seat swap.
Yeah, you get to choose where you want to sit. We start with the short stack, and that would be Bruno.
Yeah, I feel like they could leave the 9th guy off.
Right, because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because everyone moves around you. And to the viewers at home, if you're playing this, you can select visually where you'd like your seat to appear on the screen. So if, for example, Bruno is here in the, I guess, what do you call that? I don't know if it's 1, 2, or 3, but the east seat, if he wants to be at the bottom, he could choose to be at the bottom for his own view. So this is strictly about positioning.
Another thing that GG does differently at final tables, the level length is dictated not by time, but by number of hands, and that would be 30 hands per level, which I kind of like.
I like it a lot because it prevents sort of stalling to kind of let the blinds go up. Maybe you see the time going and you want to set it to where the big blind hits the person before you or any of that goofiness. It's out the window. It's 30 hands. Just play your hands.
Jason Koon is our chip leader. You see him with more than 7.8 million in chips. Big Hooney and Shankar will switch seats. We welcome in those of you watching us not only on Twitch, but on PokerGo's YouTube channel and Facebook page as well. We are following the chat on Twitch here and there. We know we have the mods in there, and we do have a giveaway at hand, giving away 4 $250 satellite seats to the main event, and that will come within about an hour 10 or so. Shankar Pillai, as we are almost done with the seating draw. Big New York Giants fan. See Saquon Barkley there. He plays under the screen name Saquon on GG. And finally, it is Jason Koon's decision. Where does he want to go? Makes sense that he wants to be to Shankar's left.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty brutal because this whole seat swap thing at the end of the day, for me, I think the optimal spot is chip leader just ends on the left of the second place guy.
Right. So it does really hurt the second place guy.
It's like the second place guy gets really the worst of it for this whole deal.
Our final table explanation roundup is complete with these game clocks that the players have. So they have the standard time, pre-flop, flop, turn, river, and then they can reach into their time bank, so to speak. And that is the time that they are given throughout the entire final table. And with that, we are underway at the 25K Poker Players Championship, and a decent start, I would say, if you're Chris Unikin.
Yeah, ace king in the small blind against the second place stack. Be interesting to see if he decides to do something like limp here, because a lot of players take advantage. They assume when someone limps a small, they have garbage and they just auto-raise it. But he takes the other approach. He just ships it all in with ace-king, hoping Shankar wakes up with something like an ace-9 and decides to look it up.
There is about a 55K pay jump from 9th to 8th. Or again, our final 9 guaranteed $154,416. Up top in this one, the biggest first place payout ever for a World Series of Poker online event. That is more than $1.8 million.
Another ace-king, but again, no takers.
Just a guess, we'll say the same thing next week. The biggest first place payout.
It's been a trend. I mean, every week we keep escalating. It's almost like they did that on purpose or something. I don't know.
From Colossus to Millie Maker to Poker Players Championship to the main event.
Got a few hands here. King, queen, offsuit under the gun. It is a full table with some pretty short stacks, so you've got to assume strength when someone raises under the gun here. Jason Koon does, lays down ace-10. He's like, this guy's likely got a better hand than he actually does.
It is Alexei Ponikov's out of Latvia, 6th in chips. By the way, sold off 45% of his action on the GGPoker staking platform, so I'm sure he has a lot of viewers that are very, very attuned to this final table action.
That is so cool that you can actually sell pieces of yourself within the site. Don't have to deal with collecting and paying out, and it's totally transparent, it's totally safe. Really cool. I'd be excited to see other sites adopt that.
Koon calls on the button here with the queen jack of spades. Aces for Aram here. Aram Zobian.
Yeah, he knows. Koon with the button here knows he can apply a lot of pressure to Zobian if he chooses so.
Zobian checks not only the aces, but a couple backdoor draws. Koon backdoor Broadway draw, backdoor flush draw, 1.4 million in the middle. Koon will fire 351K.
I don't think we're going to see Zobian go anywhere. I imagine he was checking to keep the pot small. Uh-oh.
King of spades on the turn, though.
A lot of possibilities now for Koon with a 10 or a spade to give him the nuts.
More than 2.1 million in this pot.
I mean, the 10 would give him the nuts. The spade would give him a queen high flush, which in Hold'em is might as well be. Right. Zobian checks again. Wow.
Koon will check back. Jason Koon will river the flush. Quite a start to this tournament for our chip leader. It's going to be very hard also for Zobian to put Koon on spades here.
Yeah, especially after Koon checked back on the turn, but Zobian wisely identifies there's no value in betting in here. If you are going to play this hand, you want to just check call, because either your opponent's bluffing and you get some free chips out of them, or they're betting a better hand, such as this one.
How much does Jason Koon look for here?
Overbet.
How about the overbet for almost 2.7 million, just putting max pressure on Zobian?
That might actually be good for Zobian, because it might allow him to get off. His kicker's not very strong. If Jason Koon called you with an ace, your ace is probably beat. In addition to 2 pairs and flushes, I think we might see Zobian get away from this, especially considering the stack sizes, the short stacks here. Risking 2.7 million of your chips, not really something I think you want to do with an ace with a weak kicker against an opponent like Jason Koon.
An opponent, though, who is very capable of making this move without a hand.
He is, but you've got to kind of think, what hands did he call me with pre-flop on the button?
Yeah.
Bet that flop when I check to him. Like, what could he have? Does he have just a stone airball? Is he doing this with like 2 10s, 2 jacks? Would he play them like this? Would he have not 3-bet me pre-flop? These are the questions you've got to think about if you're Aram.
In the tank here, 6.5 minutes left in his final table clock.
And he lays it down.
Does lay it down. Plenty of signature moments for Jason Koon in his career, including his showing at the 2018 Super High Roller Bowl.
All in.
All in. Call.
Justin does call. And here we go.
High, Koon fishing for some runners to a straight or a pair.
Oh, that'll just do it.
It's aces up, and we've iced it. The river, inconsequential. And Jason Koon.
What a run by Jason, of course. One of the world's best. This guy has been on such a tear. Expect to see big things from him for as long as he chooses to play the game. 2.1 million for
2.1 million for third. That was the year, David, where you just couldn't beat Justin Bonomo.
No, I was actually here for that
Oh,
moment.
were you? Okay.
I just showed up here to talk to the guys here at the Poker Go studio. I believe that was right here. And I remember Daniel, Justin, and Kuhn, three of my favorite people in poker at the table. It was a treat to see. I think I stayed and watched.
That might have been the first event here at the studio, the first live event.
I think that's probably why I was here then.
Right.
For a reason to come check it out.
And you can see the pressure that Jason Kuhn is putting on his opponents. He ripped last hand in the cutoff with the ace-4 of diamonds. He rips here with the jack-10 of hearts.
Was that 2 9s or 8 9? Or are my eyes deceiving me that Christian Rudolph just folded? I believe it was 2 9s, but it could have been 8 9. My vision could be bad. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2 9s. What are you going to do when you have 5 million
You're just
chips?
so handcuffed.
It's all in from the chip leader. You pretty much can't.
It was pocket nines.
I mean, that's incredible, but what can you do? I mean, Christian Rudolph made the play that he has to make, right? There's so many stacks short of you and so much money at each jump. How can you call with 2 9s there? Right? Even if you're flipping, you're like, oh, wow, cool.
And that's the beauty of the spot that Jason Kuhn is in.
These guys are in trouble.
Yeah.
Because Jason Kuhn, like right now, he laid it down. I'll say I would not be surprised to see him keep on steamrolling. Maybe he had to go get a glass of water in the kitchen. He's like, I'm going to take one off.
He's like, it won't matter if I take one off.
I got to go grab a cup of water.
Again, about a 55K pay jump. Well, that'll work for Bruno, who entered this final table as our short stack. Has about 9 bigs now. Every pot extremely important for him.
The difference also is who's in the big blind into these hands, which also determines kind of what Jason does with his stack here. Not just who, but the stack size also.
Big Hooney gets a walk here. 25K Poker Players Championship on GGPoker. Jeff Platt alongside David Williams. Thank you all for being here with us today. We played down to a champion. 407 entries. They played down to 9 on Sunday.
It's tough with a couple of deuces here because you know if you get called, unless they got ace deuce, you're not in great shape.
He will commit himself here and he will take it down.
Decides to go for it. No takers.
Inching closer to at least 8th place on the leaderboard. See Kevin Martin in the chat. Very popular poker streamer, to say the least. He's had a couple of runs on GG. Tried to get Phil Hellmuth set up to stream some of his World Series of Poker main event action, and then the internet went down on the 15-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, and good game to Phil. Polyus with ace-7. Big Hooney with ace-jack on the button. Polyus folds.
Yeah, I mean, he's in, what, 8th right now, but the stack right above you and right below you are effectively the same. You know, the guy in 7th is about to take the big blind. Ace-7, you got 3 opponents with lots of chips. It's kind of a tough spot. He gives it up. Big Hooney with ace-jack. Not that tough for him.
Chris Unikin with more than $8 million in live tournament earnings. Plenty, to say the least, in online earnings.
Couple of jacks for Shankar. On the button, under the gun raise. From Alexei. It's confusing because there's also Alexei.
Yeah. We'll go Alexei and Alexei. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Blade Runner.
Oh, 10s and 5s for Alexei Ponikovs. Shankar leads with the jacks.
Yeah, and he got tricky just calling pre-flop. Can't really put your opponent on an overpair. If you've got the 10 here, you don't really think they've got a 5.
Shankar firing 400,000.
You've got to love your hand if you got the 10 here. I don't think he's considering a fold. I think he's considering, is he calling, is he raising, planning future streets, what cards he wants to see. Not that you can control that, but how you're going to act accordingly.
There's a check raise to 1 million.
And I think if you're Shankar with 2 jacks here, right now you're like, all right, I don't think my opponent has a 5.
Yeah.
Does he have an overpair? Does he have a 10? It's most likely he has a 10, but he could have something like queens or kings. I mean, he did raise under the gun. It's not unlikely. The check raise is a little suspect. That also include club draws in his range. Again, with the short stacks on the table, it's just such a tough spot because if you're wrong and you cripple yourself if you're Shankar and put yourself down with the short stacks, you came in second place with 34 bigs, so you don't want to be wrong here, but do you really want to fold jacks? Yeah. Really tough spot for him with the 2 jacks here. It's easy for us, we see it, just rip it in, but he gives it up.
Wow, Shankar lays down the jacks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's everything we just said. I think it's more so about the stacks around him, the amount of chips he has in relation to the field and the pay jumps. It's like, he doesn't really have a lot of options here, right? Just calling that 600,000, you're effectively going to be playing for it all.
It's got to be painful.
And if you're wrong, you are down in the cellar.
Ponikov's with the ace-4 of diamonds here.
So we've got Kuhn on the button again. I don't think he really cares about his holdings. It's just position and his chip stacks, 7-5.
Alexei happy to defend, happy to flop an ace.
Still, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to hold on the entire hand if Kuhn's going to apply pressure. He does. Small bet. It's not necessary to bet too much because in general, if your opponent has nothing, they're just going to give it up. So no reason to risk a lot.
He bets 281,000. Eight of spades on the turn. Flush draw now for Kuhn. Gut shot now for Kuhn.
I've seen this story before. Yeah. Gut shot and spade draw. He might check it back to give himself a free card. Not have to risk any chips to give himself a shot to make either of those hands, although he can't really be confident if he does make the flush, it's the best hand, unlike that other flush. Big difference with a 2-card queen high flush, and he does it again.
Checks back and does hit a flush on the river.
I think we're likely going to see check here. You can't really bet and expect to get called with the ace. You don't want to turn your hand into a bluff, and it's hard to bet the 7 high flush for value. He might. He is Jason Kuhn. He does. He's a lot better player than I am, so I don't see a lot of value in betting this, but he does.
Jason Kuhn does.
Some value.
Bet 675,000.
I think he identified that if his opponent had an actual flush, he's probably playing the hand differently at some point. I don't see a lot of hands paying you off that you beat, but hey, his opponent does have one that if he does call, he correctly targeted. So that's why I said I was excited to watch Jason play. We're going to learn some things here.
Kuhn going for some value, betting 675,000.
Oh.
Oh, wow, the check raise from Alexei. How about that?
Sick poker here, guys.
This is top level.
And notice Jason hasn't just insta-mucked it, right? He's actually considering like, no. This 7 of spades could be good here. How wrong was I about both players in this spot?
Right, the two of us were
I was probably going to go check here.
Yeah.
Let's check, bet, raise.
Close.
And we might get a call. No,
Kuhn does lay it down.
In a way, though, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about why betting the 7 high flush. You don't get called by a lot of hands that beat you, but you do open the door for that to happen. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to criticize Jason Kuhn's play by any means, but that is a risk you take when you try to make these super thin value bets. Uh-oh.
Ehuni opens with the king-queen. Kuhn with 10s in the cutoff.
What a play by Alexei, though.
Yeah, that was strong. Kuhn will rip it here.
And I think that just goes to say Alexei wisely figured out that, my opponent is going to value bet thin. So to combat that, I'm going to try to put some pressure on.
Yeah. Jason Kuhn does take down that pot. Jason Kuhn with more than 9 million in chips. He is 9th on the all-time money list with more than $31 million in career live tournament earnings.
Got a few aces for the short stacks here. He gives it up. Our new second place stack. Feeling good, feeling confident. I imagine we see a raise here on the button. Yeah. Queen high, you got a guy with about 10 bigs in the big blind.
And that guy with about 10 bigs has ace-8.
and I don't see how you can fold that here. You've got 10 bigs at a full table.
Right, you're the shortest stack, yeah.
Yep.
He does rip it here.
And we get a fold from the queen high. It's always got to feel good when you got the ace-8 and you don't get called. You don't have to win. You just take it down pre-flop.
Life is good on GGPoker for Bruno.
Yes, it is. You go from the cellar to 7th place.
Here he comes, moving up the ladder. As he rips it there, small blind versus big blind. Zobian has to fold.
He's won double from 2nd place.
True.
That's incredible.
It's an interesting distribution here. Paulius is now the short stack. He has ace-10 in the big blind. Alexei with the queen jack of diamonds will just rip.
Wow, real tough for the ace-10s to play when somebody just rips it in middle position here. I think if you're Paulius with 10 bigs, it could go either way here. I mean, if it was from the button, I think almost certainly, but you know, you did just pay the big blind. Once you get through the small, you get almost a full round of hands. Give some other people a chance to make a mistake or get coolered.
Yeah.
You move up.
He is going to lay it down.
It's much better to be the one shoving it in than calling it off.
Alexei Ponikov with the win. Let's get to know Alexei a little bit.
Summer is nearing its end, much like World Series of Poker, and I'm glad to have opportunity to compete for the bracelet at the end of this series. It's really nice. For those who are not familiar with me, my name is Alexei. I've been playing poker for 10 years. This year I set myself a goal to play more super high roller tournaments. Let's see, is it a good idea or not? But now I'm totally confident in myself and the victory of this tournament because of power of Bryn Kenny, at least for 9.8% with me. And thanks for all who buy pieces from me on regular basis. I'm glad to have opportunity to win some money for you as well. Good luck, other final table participants. Shuffle up and deal.
Nice,
I love it.
Wholesome content
Yeah,
there. I like
absolutely.
that. I got a good feeling about it.
Alexei for sending in that video.
I love these videos, though. They give us kind of like more about the
introduction.
person than just an icon of Gandhi playing poker, not like Gandhi, right? Like, we actually get to see what kind of people these guys are, and I really like these videos. So.
And Alexei said it. He sold off 45% of his action on the GGPoker staking platform. Those investors are in pretty good shape right now. Shankar will just limp in blind versus blind.
Jason with the 6 high. Checks it back.
Got shot for Shankar. A couple other players sold action on the platform, including Bruno Bataillon, who sold 30% off. And then, David, I know if you were on the site, if you were allowed to be on the site, you'd buy this player's action. Chris Unikin selling off 10% at 1.25 to 1, and he only sold off 0.8%. So a missed opportunity for investors here for this one.
When you look at it straight up, it's a steep markup for a 25K buy-in. The field's going to be tough. 1.25 is pretty tough, but hey, he has confidence in himself. He wanted to offer it at that price, and it looks like you would have done well if you'd bought it, right? He's here.
Got shot now for Kuhn. Again, just max pressure from Jason Kuhn. Christian Rudolph also sold off action. He sold off 17%, and his little bio description said, losing player on GG. Not losing anymore after this. Here's the ace-jack of hearts for Shankar. We see Alexei has the ace-5 of diamonds. That's Blade Runner.
Wow, and he didn't ship it. A lot of players on the button in Shankar's spot just move all in here. I think that was partially to deceive his opponents and to give him some room in case Jason Kuhn decided to ship it on him. But that might actually cause Alexei to go all in, which he does, and Shankar is easily going to call. Alexei is dominated.
And here we go. Alexei Boyka all in and at risk with the ace-5 of diamonds, and we'll need runner now. Well, can we squeeze a 2 across for a sweat? Needing a 5-ball. And we do not get the 5-ball on the river, so it is good game to Alexei Boyka out in 9th place for $154,416. Tough spot there for nothing he could do.
Yeah, I mean, not much you can do when you're with that chip stack he had and you pick up ace-5 suited against the button. You're going to get it in there. You just got to hope it holds up.
55K pay jump for our remaining 8 to our guaranteed $210,079. There's a 75K pay jump from 8th to 7th.
Yeah, and that's got to hurt. He's Blade Runner 1 started in 7th.
Yeah.
A lot of things worked out to force him into the the bottom stack, and he was forced to get all in.
Polyus will rip it and take it down.
Big Hooney with the queen jack suited, middle position, opens it up.
About 20 bigs that he started the hand with.
I like this though. There's not a lot of waiting. You know, even though they did
Yeah.
the 30 hands, we were still seeing on some of these tables people waiting, letting the time tick down. These players
Not
are
here.
acting. This is go mode. I like it.
Could
Two
be Rip
threes.
City for Bruno. It is.
Zobian started with 4.4 million. He's down to 2.7, and he feels like he hasn't really been involved. It's just the
Right.
nature of just being at the table.
Had that first hand against Jason Kuhn go poorly for him.
Interesting fold the button with queen nine with two short stacks. Turns out it was a good move.
Right.
There.
If we're being results oriented. It's
Chicken
perfect.
barbecue with king queen,
Yeah.
ready to barbecue that queen nine. It's one of those spots your opponent has, what, 10 and a half, 11 big blinds. You know that they're unlikely to have that strong of a hand. He decides to make a raise. Luckily for him, it wasn't what a lot of people do, which is just jam and put
Right.
pressure. I mean, we even saw that with chicken barbecue in a hand we watched in the replay. He made a raise where he did have enough where he could fold, and
And Zobian could raise small there. It could kind of accomplish a lot. He's still going to get a lot of folds. He doesn't get a fold there and does become our short stack.
always feels good to get a walk with
Oh,
7-3
man.
in the
Yeah,
big
the
blind.
the final table
Life
of
is good on
25K.
GGPoker. Overlay alert, $32,100.
We got to get there to that 1,500 deep stack side event.
Let me hop on a plane real quick.
Been plenty of side action on GG. And you were close to making that trip for the main, yeah?
Yeah, unfortunately, I forgot. If you want to go out of the country, you need a passport.
Yeah, that's
And
recommended.
my passport expired right at the beginning of all the madness that is the world. When traveling stopped, I submitted it for a renewal.
Yeah.
And I realized as I was making the plans for this trip, wait, where the hell's my passport? It has not arrived yet. So I looked on the website with the passport agency. It should be here shortly, they say.
Okay,
but
all right. Well,
that's not enough time to go. So unfortunately for me, I'm here this year with you.
Well, we're happy to have you then next Saturday for final day coverage of the World Series of Poker main event. Shankar with nines on the button here.
Could go ahead and raise and take it. You know, I've always felt would be cool if online poker, because they can do this, if the table just morphed and became an 8-handed table, like that
so there's
space
no
in the
empty
middle,
spaces.
and it just
Yeah, I
kept
like
filling the
this.
empty spaces and kind of like turning it into even it out a little bit. It's like moving a chair out in real life,
Yeah,
and scooting
right,
around.
right.
Scoot around.
Polyus with sixes and about 15.5 bigs.
Yeah, I think you've got to ship it here. I'm not sure what else you're waiting for if you decide not to. I mean, I guess you could be waiting for Aram,
Yeah.
you know, with the shorter stack. But it's unlikely you're going to find spots like this. Nope, gives it up.
Decide to fold.
Kuhn here with king queen. I think we're going to see some
Just
pressure.
to guess
applied.
Jason Kuhn's going to play.
Now, yeah, I don't
which-
think we're going to see an all-in here because he does have two fairly large stacks. We've got Alexei with almost 6 million, Christian Rudolph with 4, so he just needs to make a standard raise. And Rudolph's been trapped.
Comes queen, queen, 3. Kuhn with the trip queens.
He's going to show everybody, look, I had it.
I got it. All right, that's
I'm so
Jason
good.
Kuhn. Also had a memorable moment on Poker After Dark.
Kuhn's raised to 50, just flatted by Rast. Uh-oh. We have ignition. No launch yet.
All in.
Call.
I have a set of jacks.
You win.
Oh, wow.
And a quick all-in and call as Kuhn sees
GG.
just how lucky he got. At one point down to just one ace on the river, he battles back to become this week's champion.
That's a
Poker After
50K
Dark.
sit and go right there.
I miss those days.
Oh, man. Do like the old school Poker After Dark sit and goes.
Yeah, man.
You fired some.
I think I played like 6 or 7. Got a
How's
win
your track
against
record?
Antonio, which was, felt really
Oh.
good because he's one of the best. And then I got a second place against James Aikenhead, which hurt really bad. Nothing about James, just I really wanted to win that one. And then a bunch of mediocre finishes, kind of like in the middle there, having fun talking. But no, it was always a good time, win or lose, playing on Poker After Dark.
Yeah, just one of the best shows out there. And perhaps we're hoping that it is able to come back soon on Poker Go. Blinds have gone up 125K, 250K.
Here we go. Shortest stack, Zobian with ace-9 on the button. It's folded to him. You don't shove here. I don't know what you're waiting for. Yeah.
There's that shove. It
Gonna
will
get it through.
So Jason Kuhn basically where he was to start play today with 40 bigs. Shankar Pillai basically where he was to start play today with 34 bigs. Christian Rudolph has fallen off a little bit. He started the day in 3rd. Big Hooney with jacks here in the small blind.
Another jam. He's from the school of just hope my opponent wakes up with something to make a loose call with. We've seen that both times with ace, king, and jacks. A lot of players try to limp and trap their opponent or make a small raise and induce a re-raise, but not today.
And to your point earlier, a lot of players are shoving a relatively wide range, small blind versus big
Yeah,
blinds.
you catch
So
your
to put
opponent
him
there
on
with
that
something
strong,
like king, jack suited, that you might get a call and have them dominated.
Alexei raises. Alexei takes it down with the ace-queen. Alexei Ponakaz with career live tournament earnings of more than $400,000. This is his 4th cash of the 2020 WSOP and his very first World Series of Poker final table.
Yeah, these are the hands I want to see.
Yeah.
Blind versus blind, Kuhn versus the other big stack, one of the other big stacks with a mediocre holdings. What's he going to do? And he's going to raise and take it.
I imagine Alexei has to have some confidence after pulling off that check raise against Jason Kuhn.
Yeah, and I think at the 30-minute mark, if he's able to load up the coverage, he'll find out what he did and really feel good. Bruno with 2 queens.
Queens were good to Bruno as earlier in this tournament. In fact, on day 1, late in day 1, on Sunday, he got it in with queens against aces, was able to flop a queen.
12 bigs, but he elects not to shove. He makes a little small suspect raise under the gun. They won't figure that one out.
And takes that pot down. Bruno up to about 3.5 million. Shankar with the ace-queen of hearts.
Uh-oh. Jason Kuhn hasn't thrown away the king-10 yet. Might be getting a little feisty here. Nope.
Just lay it down. Shankar Pillai, the 2-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner. Won the 2007 3K for more than $527,000 and won the 2019 Bracelet Winners Only event for $72K. Did you play in that one last year?
You know, I didn't. I'm trying to think why, though. I remember watching it. I think I had something I was doing at home because I remember watching the coverage and being like, man, I wish I could have played that because it looked like a fun event.
Yeah. It
wasn't super serious. Not to say the bracelet doesn't mean a lot, but it was just a more casual kind of atmosphere. I remember reading the coverage. People were having fun, joking. It just sounded like a really fun event.
Big Hooney opens here with the ace-jack of hearts. It's Bruno with the ace-queen on the button.
He is facing an under-the-gun raise, and there are 2 shorter stacks. This is what I was talking about. It's tough when you're in the middle. He's in the middle stack. He's at 3 shorter stacks, actually, because Christian Rudolph is below him. It's like, what do you do with this ace-queen here? It's tough.
The ICM implications in this one are pretty wild. There's a 75K pay jump from 8th to 7th.
Ace-king, though.
Yeah, ace-king suited.
You just go ahead and get that all in and let the cards sort it out.
Christian Rudolph jumps up to more than 4 million in chips.
And no nonsense from Jason Kuhn. He raises the gun, he snap folds. He's like, I'm not going to Hollywood and act like I got
which we
a
love.
tough choice with my 2 9s here. Nope, I'm just going to muck it and keep going. Listen, they know I'm raising a lot of hands. I know I'm raising a lot of hands. No need to try to trick anybody. Let's just muck it. I love that approach. Big Hooney is small blind again. This is the 3rd time he's done this to Shankar's big blind. You've got to think, man, this guy's just abusing me. And ace-6 starts to look attractive when your opponent does it every time.
That shove for 19 bigs. That shove gets through for Big Hooney.
His opponent's had it every time, though. 2 queens. Here we go.
So we have queens. Shankar we can see with ace-jack. Zobian starting the hand with about 11 bigs.
We might actually see Shankar play this hand. His opponent's stack is 11 bigs, but he does have enough chips to play with. I think if Jason Kuhn wasn't directly on his left right here with a stack, I think it would be a lot easier for him to play right now. But he does not want to make a misstep and have Jason Kuhn wake up with a hand. So he's got to decide, is he calling? Is he going to re-raise? Or is he just going to give it up?
He is just going to fold. Zobian picks that pot up. Our final 8 guaranteed $210,079. Aaron Zobian, 6th place finisher in the 2018 World Series of Poker main event. Take a look.
All in. 23-year-old puts it all out there. Dyer with an ace.
One time, baby. One time.
The river card is a 10. Zobian's Hail Mary falls short. He will go into the history books as our 6th place finisher.
Very well played. Okay, take it down there. Good run. Very well played.
He was a kid with a dream.
His first ever in the money main event finish worth $1,800,000.
1.8 million, not too shabby for that 6th place finish. Interesting hands here.
Right. We've got not only this King 10, but then the big Hoonie with the queens. And depending on how it plays out, Jason Kuhn might get in the mix with Ace-Jack here. I think if it goes raise, re-raise, Ace-Jack hits the muck. But if it folds and Hoonie just opens,
which he does,
Kuhn might try to put some pressure on him and say, you know what? There's a lot of shorter stacks than you. How do you like your hand now?
Kuhn does rip it.
Does exactly that. Hoonie's not going anywhere.
And here we go. Chris Unikin all in and at risk with the queens against the Ace-Jack of Jason Kuhn. It comes King-Jack 10. Kuhn looking for a queen or a jack on the river. Let's squeeze it. Can we squeeze paint? It's not paint. It's the 6 of clubs, and we have a new chip leader, and that would be Big Hoonie.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a tough spot all around from both hands. I mean, I know what Kuhn was doing there. Big Hoonie doesn't have to have a hand that can call that, especially with all those shorter stacks. I think he had the bottom of his range of hands that he does call that with, right? Aces, kings, queens, and ace-king suited, maybe offsuit, or probably offsuit, but that's it. Like, if he's got jacks there, I think he probably folds, maybe.
Big Hoonie looking for that bracelet, looking for that signature win. Almost had it at the USPO last year.
All in.
Oh, he's getting called by Peters. Takes up a couple of outs on the turn. Can hit the 8 as well now. Needs to counterfeit or better the 9s.
U.S. Poker Open champion.
There it is. As Uni built the drama for us. 6 of diamonds on the end, and like that, David Peters.
3rd, and 2nd, so I guess I'll just win the next one.
That runner-up finish for $858,000 to David Peters.
Wow. What a spot. Don't count Jason Kuhn out, though. He won the next pot. He's already back up to $4 million. One double. He's right up in there.
We saw David Peters win the 10K WSOP Heads-Up Championship, and we see Paulius calling it off with the King-9 of clubs here. Zobian had shoved with the 10-8 and does flop a 10. Paulius is going to need a king on the river. Now let's see if we squeeze paint for the sweat.
7%.
It's a 7 of diamonds on the river, and that will do it for Paulius Plasanidis out of Lithuania. He finishes in 8th place for $210,079, a 75K pay jump for our final 7.
Bruno started the day with 9 big lines.
Ladder.
Up to the final 7. One more jump, and he will have more than doubled his money. Now let's see if Big Hoonie takes advantage of his stack. He doesn't. The button raises here, and he had an ace. He decided to just fold. Shankar defends the King-8 and flops top pair.
Couple backdoor draws for Zobian. Does check back. It's 8s and 6s for Shankar.
Shankar's got to feel good about his hand here. Gives his opponent some more rope to bet it again. If he was good on the flop, he's probably good now.
Goes check, jack on the river.
I think you've got to bet a little something for value here. It's not likely you get called by worse, but you can get looked up by some ace highs. You can't really suspect your opponent to bet that river for you if you check it to him.
The bet is 1 million. Shankar takes it down. So a rough start at the beginning for Shankar. He had to fold the jacks, but he spun it back up. He's been able to maintain a comfortable 2nd place.
I mean, and that's why he folded those jacks, right? When you're in these uncertain spots, sometimes it's better to err on the side of caution and wait for a better spot. That's what they say when they say wait for a better spot. He waited for a better spot, and he's done fine.
This will be a spot here as Christian Rudolph raising with the ace-queen. effectively committing himself. It's Jason Kuhn who has 10s in the big blinds.
Yep.
All of it.
And I believe
Rudolph calls. Here we go. It's Jason Kuhn all in and at risk. 10s against ace-queen. Ace in the window.
And look how close their stacks were. 61,000 separated those
Jason
stacks.
Kuhn needs a 10 on the river. And it will not come. And just like that, from chip leader to out in 7th for $285,808 is Jason Kuhn. And that's just proof of how fast these tourneys can move, how unpredictable they are going in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of no limit hold'em, right? All it takes is just a few things to not go your way. One card changes and you have millions versus you being out. So really tough situation all around for him, especially the hand with the ace-jack. I mean, I don't really know what else you could do there. You just ran into 2 queens and didn't win the hand.
Really just ran into it twice, and must be nice to be Christian Rudolph. Life is good on GGPoker for the German, no question about that.
6 players remain. The other players have to feel good about that. Probably their toughest opposition at the table eliminated.
$388K guaranteed to our final 6.
Big Hooney over 11 million.
Ace-9 for Alexi. 7 more hands in this level.
He's approaching 50 bigs.
How about Bruno, who's made at least $235K in ladders so far?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you say the line for him, but...
And you know he's thinking life is good on GGPoker. He's like, this is great. I just sit back and fold and collect the 6 figures.
Zobian choosing to limp in with the Jack-10 off.
Notice the limps aren't really getting attacked very much. When people do limp, no one's really raising, which is, I guess, why Big Hooney's been shoving those small blinds against Shankar, because people aren't really attacking the limps. Usually you see a lot when someone limps a small, a big blind just has to raise it. Like, this guy's limping, his hand can't be good. But I guess now that people are limping good big hands, people realize that, and the game is adjusting.
The game is always evolving, especially in high-stakes tournament poker.
Absolutely.
Big Hooney with the gut shot here.
Queen high is the best hand. Will the Jack-10 let him win it? He does. It's kind of a weird spot. Neither player can really bet here because no one's going to fold anything that you're beating. Ace-10 suited.
6 players remain, $388,837 guaranteed to our final 6. There's about a 141K pay jump from 6th to 5th. Christian Rudolph takes that one down, just ace high. Rudolph with the 10-9 of clubs here.
Pretty looking hand, but unfortunately with the situation, you can't really do much with it under the gun this deep in the tournament.
Here's a situation for Bruno with 8 bigs. He's going to go with the ace-8. He's going to get this one through.
Uh-oh, and we're going to get this one in too. It looks like it gets through also.
Yeah.
Ace-jack suited.
10 bigs. Commit himself here. So it's Chris Unikin, our chip leader, with more than 11 million in chips. It's about 45 bigs at this point, at least for the next couple hands before blinds go up.
2 queens. Here we go.
Ooh, and the ace-8 of clubs for Christian Rudolph in the small blind. Deuces for Shankar.
Interesting, if Shankar opens here, Bruno's going to shove and just take it down. But if Shankar folds, Bruno gets a spot at a full double.
Absolutely.
Because there's no way Christian Rudolph doesn't put them all in. That's the beauty of seeing all the cards in advance.
Pretty key here, right, exactly.
I imagine the 8-5 folds. We're going to see him put them all in.
Rudolph will rip it. Bruno's so happy to call off with the queens. Queens versus the ace-8 of clubs for Christian Rudolph. Comes 9-6-5, open up some outs. Ooh. 7-ball on the turn for Christian Rudolph.
We need an 8 for a tie? And it's, brutal. That's got to hurt.
Another 7 on the river. That will do it for Bruno, out in 6 for $388,837. A great effort, great laddering, but that's max pain to end it.
New chip leader, 50 big blinds for about one more hand for Christian Rudolph. 12.5 million chips.
Rudolph entered the day third in chips, fell down to about the 5th or 6th spot, and has spun it back up. Oof.
Jack 6 here in the small, or Jack 9, excuse me. Just going to go ahead and shove it in.
We've reached the $500,000 mark. Our final 5 guaranteed $529,000. A 190K pay jump from 5th to 4th as the blinds do go up to 150K, 300K. So Rudolph, our chip leader, with 41 bigs.
Zoe in the short stack with 4.7 million. 2 of our bigger stacks here. Big Hooney does it again. That's like, what, the 4th time he's shifted on the small blind against Shankar's big blind? And Shankar's not.
Be frustrated.
Said nothing every time.
It's the 9-5 off for Shankar blind versus blind against Alexei.
I just want to applaud these players at the speed at which they're playing.
Yeah, this has been phenomenal.
The blinds did go up this hand. We are 153. So those 4.5 million stacks, only 15 bigs. Nice size raise here with the air ball. Not much you can do with 8-9.
And these are all important decisions, so you have to be impressed with the skill level. But then again, this is the Poker Players Championship, so these are the kinds of guys we expect at this final table.
Yeah, no, it's been a real delight to watch. You've seen a lot of things we didn't expect, a lot of surprises, a lot of interesting hands. It's been great.
We can certainly say life is good on GGPoker for Christian Rudolph, who is now our chip leader, who does have pocket 10s.
He just needs an opponent to play with. Doesn't look like he's going to get one. Raise here, 7 high. Not much you can do with a short stack and 7 high, other than muck.
This is Christian Rudolph's 4th World Series of Poker final table. Finished in 2nd place at the 2018 World Series of Poker Europe, 25K.
Jack 10 suited. We saw him do this before with Jack 9 offsuit, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a ship with Jack 10 suited.
And there it is.
He picks up the blinds, gets those blinds right back that he lost last hand.
Very crucial. Zobian and Alexei with similar stacks.
Here we go. Nope. Elects not to go with the Queen Jack. Is Big Hooney going to do it again? He's gotten it through every time with a real hand. Is he going to do it with 6 high? No, he gives it up.
Shankar thinking the timing of this is ridiculous.
Like, this guy
like
can see my cards. What's going on? I like this. 5 hands that are real bad. Let's see who's going to win it. The button usually does here. 5-6 suited on the button. I like it.
With that stack size, Big Hooney's going to open a lot here and is going to win a lot here.
Alexei, for a minute, shot up to 2nd. And I feel like he hasn't really played a hand. And he just kind of, just the blinds have eaten him all the way back down to the short stack, it feels like.
He's got about 12 bigs behind.
King
with
high.
The King 8 in the small blind.
I think this is a spot you go for it.
Yeah, and he does go for it. He rips.
Rudolph gives it up, ace-3.
Snap folds the ace-3
So
off.
easy to be dominated there, though. Your opponent shows up with ace-7. Not even that great of a hand, but you can't love it.
And then you're never in great shape.
And here we go.
Ooh, Shankar with the ace-jack. We see that Christian Rudolph has jacks in the small blind.
If he decides to 3-bet here, which he will, Shankar's shown a lot of discipline. I wouldn't be shocked to see just a fold.
Especially with 2 shorter stacks lying around in Zobian.
Exactly why.
Knockoffs.
And what can you love? What do you hope your opponent, you hope to see an ace-10? Or get a flip out of 2 8s? Like, no, you can't love it. I think Shankar's good enough, and he knows this. It just pains him.
You said he's been disciplined. He does lay it down.
We saw those jacks. Those jacks was one of the better folds I've seen, so very impressed with him so far.
Right back to work.
Picks up a little bit better ace-jack the next hand. No one's really getting out of line here. Everyone's kind of playing straightforward. You know, not seeing any crazy moves. We've seen a few, but right now at this stage.
Right, most notably from Alexei with the check raise on the river against Jason Kuhn on a 4-spade board when he did not have a spade. Turned his aces into a bluff. But then again, we haven't seen much post-flop play, period.
Here we go, 5-6 in the small. He's just gonna limp.
So thank you all for joining us on not only GGPoker's Twitch channel, but Poker Go's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Be sure to like those pages, subscribe on YouTube.
So it's Poker Go's Facebook page, not GGPoker's Facebook page.
Correct.
That's why I was trying to help my mom. She wanted to watch the broadcast.
Okay. Send her to Facebook if she likes
Facebook.
Yeah.
I gave her the Twitch link, GGPoker Official.
Okay, right.
But I was trying to figure out what GGPoker's Facebook was. So that's it. It's
Right.
Poker Go's Facebook or GGPoker's
And Poker
Twitch.
Go's YouTube.
Okay.
And GGPoker's Twitch.
What about just the Poker Go app? That's where I watch my poker on. Does that work?
I don't think we're on the app. Maybe you can catch a replay.
That's where I watch my poker at. That's probably the best $10 I've ever subscribed for. I was when it first came out years ago. I was like, is this something I want? I was like, I'll support poker. I'll sign up for it. It is probably the longest $10 subscription I've had of anything in my life.
And think of all the subscriptions nowadays.
I love it because I know if I want to watch poker, I just go to my Poker Go app and watch. And it's like if I ever didn't have that subscription, I'm like, oh, do I need to sign up? I have it. It's just a part of my life.
Right.
Poker Go.
A lot of value in that Poker Go subscription for sure. 2.9 million in the middle here.
I was shilling too much Poker Go. I got caught up. I didn't know how we got to the river with $3 million in the pot and 6 high against Queen high. We're going to see a river check raise. That's the only way Shankar can will it.
Right.
Alexei thinks that might be the only way he can win his betting. He's like, oh, I've only got Queen high. We might see a bet. He's only got 2.8 million. The pot is a full double if he wins it.
He will check back, and he will be thrilled.
Can you imagine you get a double up on the river with Queen high?
It's like, I got to give this up. Check back.
Oh, look at me, 5.7 million.
Queen high is good.
You know who hates to see that? Aram Zobian. He's like, are you kidding me?
Oh, they're playing a big pot. Here we go. Alexei with the ace-3 in the small blind.
Was that 18 bigs? Ace-3, kind of an interesting spot. I'd like to maybe just limp here, complete the small. No, he just gives it up. Just gives it up. I believe he showed that Jack-3. It kind of blinked. I think he was showing him.
Okay.
Gonna rub it in a little bit.
That's not going to make him feel great. Big Hooney opens here with the Queen Jack.
Quick fold of the King 10 suited.
Again, there is a $190,000 pay jump.
It's a lot of money.
From 5th to 4th.
A lot of money.
Zobian will defend. He does have the Jack of Hearts.
Let's see who plays their
flush draw, right?
Jack the best. One guy has a heart, one guy has position.
Position and chips.
Yeah, I think if you've got the other Queen Jack here, if you're Aram Zobian, you just got to give it up. Even though you've got 2 overs, it's just...
You're handcuffed.
Yeah.
Basically.
This is what you were waiting for.
Oh, and here we go. It's Rudolph with 9s. It's Zobian with the ace-queen. Aram Zobian will be all in and at risk.
And I think Christian's going to call, absolutely.
Zobian will need to win this flip to survive. It's King 8-6. So far, so good for Christian Rudolph. 4 of spades on the turn.
Spade draw.
Opening up the flush draw for Zobian. Will squeeze the river. It is a 9 of hearts, and that will do it for Aram Zobian, out in 5th place for $529,000.
Listen, he came in 4th, finished in 5th. You know, not so bad. Picks up 530 grand.
Not so bad.
Just the other casual Saturday afternoon. $500,000.
Didn't really have too many hands. I do believe he's qualified for day 2 of the World Series of Poker main event tomorrow. So life is good on GGPoker for Mr. Zobian, to say the least.
Big Hooney raises the button with a 9-10. Gets looked up from our short stack. Flops top pair. Big Hooney's going to need some help.
Couple backdoor draws for him. 4 players remain, all guaranteed $719,700.
Unbelievable.
With a 260K pay jump on the line.
I'll take it.
At the next elimination.
I'll
I'll take the pay jump total.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Christian Rudolph, 17 million. Uh-oh.
9-ball on the turn, which could be bad news for Big Hooney. Got shot now for Alexi to go along with his pair of kings.
I don't think he was going to put more chips in the pot if he didn't catch that 9, so maybe the 9 is a good thing, as it actually gives him a chance to either improve or now check back thinking he has showdown value on the river. But I could be wrong. He could decide to bet it now. Ooh.
He does check back, another king on the river.
That's actually a pretty terrible card for Chris.
Right.
You're going to think your 9 is likely good. You can't put your opponent on a king when there's 2 on the board. He might have got away cheaply, but not anymore. I think if his opponent bets, he's going to pay it off. If his opponent checks, he's going to bet.
His opponent does check.
Oh, he checks it
back. Oh,
back.
wow. It's a great check back.
Great check back.
By Chris Unikin.
I would have stepped in it.
You've been like, I need some value here.
Yeah,
My
I
9
love
ball.
value. I can't pass it up. Ace queen.
Eight, 7 of hearts for Rudolph with some chips now.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a min raise. You're going to call there with those chips for sure with 8-7 suited.
It's Rudolph starting the hand with about 60 bigs.
We got backdoor straight and flush draw. The 3 straight, 7, 8, 9 of hearts. Gotta love that, but not for 900,000, I think. Maybe. Nope, gives it up.
Hooney sized up a little bigger on the flop.
Right now, Rudolph is rabbit hunting. He's hitting the button.
Yeah, right.
Looking at the next 2 cards. I wish we got to see that.
Rabbit hunting is just another feature that GG has to offer. Blind versus blind tier.
2 9 highs.
Last hand before break.
Ooh, getting out there with the 9-3 suited.
Coming for it, a little pressure.
I like it. I like it. You'd love to see it.
Big Hooney will lay it down. So that will send our final 4 to a break. Christian Rudolph with the chip lead. David, your impressions of what we have seen so far?
I'm loving it. It's just been a lot of fun. A lot of quick poker, quick decisions, interesting hands. Not just the best hand, raise and take it. We're seeing some check raises on the river. We haven't seen that in a while. I mean, this has been fantastic to watch.
Quick poker, quick decisions, and a quick break for us. We will be back in just a couple minutes. You're watching the final table of the 25K Poker Players Championship. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to final table coverage of the 25K Poker Players Championship. Going to get you right back to the action. David Williams, 4 left with a first place prize of $1.8 million. This is pretty sick, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a blast watching it. These players are all playing great. I'm learning a little bit. This is cool.
All right, let's get you right back to the action. 4 players left. Chris Unikin and Shankar Pillai in a blind versus blind battle. Big Hooney raised it up out of the small blind. Pillai called with the ace-5.
First time Big Hooney didn't shove it all in. He just made a standard raise. Shankar with an ace decided to call. And here we go.
1.9 million in the pot. The gut shot for Unikin along with the backdoor flush draw. Diamonds on the turn.
Yeah, Big Hooney's got to be a little suspicious. His opponent finally called. Granted, it wasn't all in, but he knows his opponent has a holding that's a little stronger than average.
We are going to keep our giveaway promotion going, so just, you know, have your ears out for that special phrase. Ears out is a weird phrase at that.
It's a little rough, though. You can't really kind of join after the fact unless you have somebody to help you out.
And so that was the key at the beginning. It's like, okay, you know, you've got to stick with us from the pregame show onwards.
Look at this river. I was thinking Hooney should have taken a stab at it at some point to try to take it down. What's the gut shot equity? But instead, it just checked down, and he rivered the best hand. Now, will Shankar check back his ace? How he does.
He will, and he'll be annoyed.
2 million almost chips for Big Hooney.
Shankar Pillai, the short stack. Blinds are 150K, 300K.
For 11 more hands.
Pillai, the only one under 20 bigs. Alexi with the ace-4 diamonds in the big blind after Big Hooney opens on the button with queen 10. Our final 4 guaranteed $719,700. 260K pay jump from 4th to 3rd. 3-bet and take it for Alexi.
Not afraid with the ace high and the big blind.
He has been pretty fearless throughout this final table. Christian Rudolph out of Germany is our chip leader. Everybody looking for their first bracelet except Shankar Pillai, who's looking for bracelet number 3.
King, queen suited on the button. Fairly standard raise here.
Raise and take it for Alexi. Ace-7 for him. We see it's ace-10 for Shankar Pillai.
Four-handed, gives up the ace high. Pretty disciplined. Don't see that often.
Shankar will just get a walk here. Shankar won the 3K in 2007 for more than $527,000, and he won the 2019 Bracelet Winners Only event.
2 9s in the big. 25 bigs, just ships it in.
There is the 3-bet shove. There is the win for Alexi, up to about 30 bigs. Blinds go up every 30 hands at GGPoker final table like this.
Just gives up the ace again when the button raise.
Jack-10 for Alexi here. Alexi Ponikov's out of Latvia.
Just limps the button. Pretty surprising to see that four-handed. You see that a lot more heads up. And gets out flopped.
Wow, as it comes 9-5 deuce, a little piece for Big Hooney with the deuces in the backdoor flush draw as Rudolph flops top pair.
Yeah, Rudolph's just going to lead into the field, take it down now.
Big Hooney just folds the deuces.
Not going to give anybody a chance to improve and beat his 9.
Christian Rudolph chipping up a little bit. This is Rudolph's 4th World Series of Poker final table. He finished 2nd at the 2018 WSOP Europe in the 25K.
The amount of small versus big with Big Hooney and Shankar we've seen today is astounding. Now just a limp this time with the King 8.
Interesting.
Flops top pair.
Got shot for Shankar along with the backdoor flush draw.
Big Hooney with the sneaky check turns trips. I feel like this is one of those setups. We're going to see the 10 on the river or something crazy like that.
Unikin leads 390K.
Shankar with just queen high, but queen high could be the best hand also against the opponent just limping in. Can't really put him on an ace. It's unlikely he has a king. He could have a jack or a deuce, so you've got to peel one off with the queen high. You've also got the gut shot. Now on the river, totally different story here.
So the bet is 1.26 million.
And he just gives it up.
Shankar folds. We are going to keep this giveaway going until we are heads up in this one. So hold back on your guesses until then.
So then what do they submit? How do they like put themselves? Okay,
So
here's my guess.
I think they'll submit their final guess. When we say that the giveaway is closed, they'll submit their final guess in the chat. If that guess is correct, then the GGPoker people on Twitch
so
will
they're
take it
watching
into
the
a
chat.
raffle of sorts, yes.
Okay.
As it's trip fives for Shankar and does not get any action on the flop.
I feel like he's just waiting for one double. He just wants to get in there and get a double. You know, he's been kind of on the unfortunate side of things in a lot of hands. Being very patient, waiting for a spot.
Alexi just limps in with the ace-6 and is out flop by Rudolph, who flops kings to Alexi's sixes. Life is good on GGPoker if you're Christian Rudolph today.
The chip lead in the $25,000 Poker Players Championship.
Yeah. Pretty nice. Sold off some of his action on the GG platform. Said he was, quote, a losing player on GG, unquote. Not anymore. King's in an open-ended straight draw for him now.
Hey, he still might be. We don't know what he does in the cash game streets.
That's true. That's true. And those cash game streets are intense on GG. We saw some 500, 1K, 2K this past week. Some of the biggest pots in the history of online cash recorded just within the last 2 weeks.
Top pair and an open-ender for Christian Rudolph. He gets called by the ace-6.
Rudolph's kings are best with 3.2 million in the middle. Rudolph checks back the king on the river.
Worried about his kicker.
Yeah. Still take down a pretty decent pot. Last hand at this level. Shankar with the ace-queen of diamonds. About 17 bigs. We'll just rip it.
Christian Rudolph with the ace-4 in the tank. Nope, gives it up. Shankar just can't get action when he has the best hand.
All right, blinds going up, 175K, 350K.
I miss those blinds in the heads up. It's like the
the
random 1,234,300. Yeah, those are good blinds.
Alexi limping again off this stack size.
Oh wow.
Comes 7-6-3 with one diamond. Top pair, the gut shot, the backdoor flush draw for Big Hooney. Couple backdoor draws for Shankar. It's king high for Alexi.
Could see some fireworks this hand if the right turn card comes.
That's a good turn card if you are a Big Hooney who does turn the straight, but nothing doing really for our other players.
Opponents are drawing dead to a chop, although a spade or a straight card, someone could try to bluff this pot.
Another 6 on the river with 1.2 million in the middle.
Let's see if Big Hooney tries to get one of them to bluff by check. Nope, he leads out. With two opponents there in a one-card straight, you could theoretically see him try to see if he can catch one of them bluffing, but he decides to bet himself.
We showed you Big Hooney's second place finish at the US Poker Open. Now let us take you back to last year's Poker Masters.
Turn is a 6, and now all Sam Sovrel
That's just what it's going to be, huh?
needs to do
Second place guy.
is fade an ugly duckling on the river here to put the cherry on top of the jacket with a main event win.
Dude. Oh, yes. No.
He does it. And Sam Sovrel is your 50K No Limit Hold'em Event 10 champion.
Keep showing Big Hooney gets second place. I feel like this is very ominous.
And you heard him say, I'm just going to be the second place guy. Big Hooney looking for his first World Series of Poker bracelet. Quite the character. The pirate out of ECU.
We're not going to talk about the aces we just swept right on by.
Right,
Shankar got no action again.
Again, another big hand pre-flop for Shankar.
He did get to 3-bet
Christian
him.
here, yes.
He did get to 3-bet, so he picked up that first raise, but yeah.
An open ender for Shankar here. 4 of clubs on the turn. Rudolph's hand still best.
I feel as patient and disciplined Shankar has been, he actually has some credibility here if he wants to try to tell a story and pick up this pot. The other players have to have seen it. He's been very patient. And they do, and he lays down the 10.
Wow. Good call there, as that opportunity was opened up for Shankar based on the way he's played throughout this final table.
Suited king on the button for Alexei.
And only a minute left in his final table clock.
He's mixing it up. Sometimes he limps hands like this. Sometimes he raises them. He's really trying to be unpredictable for his opponents.
I like the way he's played today for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, all 4 of these players have impressed me so far, and even some of the players that busted, all of them actually.
Right, and like you said, at a 25K buy-in level,
you shouldn't expect any less.
Yeah.
There's 700,000 in the pot before anyone else puts any chips in the pot voluntarily. That's very valuable, worth picking up.
Shankar will just limp with the queen jack in the small blind. Alexei will come
4
after.
high.
Shankar makes the call. Comes jack 9-6 with 1 spade.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the 8 of spades on the turn. Flush draw now for Alexei.
Seen this story. Alexei, if he could pick a card out of the deck, he wants the 10 of spades here, right on the river. Maybe the jack of spades. Is he going to make it there, though? Nope. Goes ahead and gives it up.
Fold on the turn. Nice pickup for Shankar Pillai. Looking for his 3rd World Series of Poker bracelet. Has career earnings in the live realm of about $2 million. Plenty more online.
He's 1 raise away from hopping into 2nd place.
Yeah. Alexei flops 8s and a gut shot here. Backdoor flush draw for Christian Rudolph. Another 9 on the turn. King on the river. Does Rudolph stab here? Does. Pretty sizable bet. Almost pot-sized bet.
Yep, lays down the 8.
Gets it done once again for Christian Rudolph. This is Rudolph's 8th cash of the 2020 series. Aces for Alexei.
Let's see if he gets tricky and limps the button like he has a few times. It's easy to, ooh, he does it.
He does limp on the button.
I was like, it's easy to joke about it, but let's see if somebody can really do it. It ain't that easy. Then you end up in spots like this. Then
As it comes 10-10-8, how's that for Chris Unikin? Flops 10s full. Alexei on the button with aces. Checks around, deuce on the turn.
The problem with this spot is I think your opponent is worried the ace is, I mean, the 10 is a thing, so they're not going to raise you. You're likely just going to get called. So for Big Hooney to get max value here, you want to shove, but you don't know your opponent's hand is as strong as aces. So I think Hooney's just going to bet, and if you're the aces here, there's no reason to raise because you're only getting called if you're beat. No one's probably calling you with an 8, so he's probably just going to call one off. So he actually saves himself from getting fully stacked.
Bet 1.6 million, just the snap call for Alexei, and life is good on GGPoker if you're Chris Unikin after that flop.
And that right there is why you don't limp aces on the button. I mean, it's risky. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying that's one of the risks you take. You know, your opponent might flop a full house, and then you're in a world of hurt.
Alexei in some trouble now at 6 bigs. Shankar will just defend with the 6s.
Such a gross flop if you got the 2 aces there.
Rudolph with the pot-sized bet here.
Yeah, and this is kind of familiar with the jacks with Shankar. It's just such a, like you're in no man's land here. You have nothing to find your hand. What are you going to do on the turn? You're out of position. That's pretty big. He just gives it up. Again, you've got a guy with 6 bigs.
Could see those 6 bigs. Decides to just defend off the short stack.
That's going to let him get away from it. Very fortunate flop if you got the king 10 there.
Defending off that stack size has become a lot more popular in the last year or two versus feeling compelled to just shove or fold. But Alexi's certainly in some trouble. He's at about 4 bigs. $260K pay jump from 4th to 3rd. Spikuni turns an ace.
What happens if I'm out of time?
It's a good question, Alexi. I think he'll just get normal time for pre-flop, flop, turn river, and just will not get any time bank time. I don't know how long that amount of time is, but it's not like he'll have to snap fold all of his hands. See if anybody responds to him. Oh, okay, somebody responded. He said,
somebody told him. It did put up a rules blurb when it started, but it was just so fast for me I wasn't able to read it. They are all waiting on the short stack.
No reason for Shankar to get involved.
Got a $280,000 pay jump if you can outlast Alexei. Uh-oh. Shankar wants to play.
Yeah, right, but
can't.
He's going to call. Alexei out of the way, hoping for major fireworks that result in the elimination of Shankar Pillai. 9s for Rudolph. He will bet, he will win. Alexei down about 2 bigs in the small blind with the king-queen.
Here we go. Queen 8 suited, small stack, almost certainly looked up.
So it's Ponikov's all in and at risk and in good shape.
This is the start of the comeback.
Ooh, 8-ball on the flop for Rudolph to take a slight lead. Ace on the turn for the nut straight for Ponikovs. Jack on the river. So that's a dramatic way to double up, but it's a double up nonetheless for Alexei Ponikovs. Up to 1.6 million and about 4 bigs. He'll go with it here with the Queen 6 of diamonds. Christian Rudolph with 5s. And here we go.
Oh, wow, one more.
Ponikov's going to be happy to see a flip. Needing a queen or a 6 for now. Comes King 9-7 with 1 diamond. A couple backdoor draws that, not one of them.
Counterfeit.
Oh, that's
7
true.
or 9.
Queen 9-7 or 6.
No.
It is the jack. Squeezed a little bit of paint. And we say good game to Alexei Ponikovs. It's a blast having him at this final table. I thought he played tremendous poker, really.
Yeah, really a pleasure to watch. Liked his video. Seems like a fun guy.
Seems a good dude. And congratulations to all the investors out there, as he did sell off 45% of his action on GG. Alexei scores for $719,700.
So would you say for all those that bought action, life is good on GGPoker?
I think you
buy
would
action
say that
from a
for
guy
sure.
winning almost $719,000.
I think you could say that for sure. 9s and 7s for Shankar. 9s for Rudolph. 3 players left, all guaranteed. $979,138. About a $350K pay jump from 3rd to 2nd. 1.8 million up top.
Pretty raggedy board here, but 2 pairs, good. 2 pairs, 2 pair. Queen 9-7 4 rainbow. Second pair for Christian Rudolph. Gives it up.
Makes the correct laydown. Ply with 10s.
Players aren't that short.
That's right.
There's some poker to be played here.
That's right.
Shankar's the shortest, and he's got, what, 23 bigs? 22 bigs.
Rudolph raises on the button with the Jack-9 of clubs. Shankar with the King-9 of diamonds. He'll defend. They both flop straight draws. Open ender for Rudolph. Gut shot for Shankar and a backdoor flush draw.
One needs a king, one needs an 8.
They both pair their 9s. Another queen on the river. It'll just be a race to showdown here. answer is yes.
Neither
Goes
bets
check,
for
check.
value.
Another pot for Shankar Pillai.
Look at the difference in their clocks. Christian Rudolph's got
Yeah.
5 minutes. Shankar's got 22 seconds.
About 5 minutes for Big Hooney also. Shankar has certainly been in some tricky spots throughout this final table. Jack high for Rudolph, ace high for Chris Unikin. Unikin and Rudolph looking for their first World Series of Poker bracelet. Ace on the turn for Chris. Rudolph tries to lead there, just gets snapped off by Unikin with the aces. Chris Unikin inching closer to Christian Rudolph.
Ace king suited. Decent size raise, 4x.
Shankar folds again, probably feels like he's getting picked on a little bit.
I mean, how many
Putting in
big
the
blinds
small
has he
blind
given
versus
up
big
to
blind
Chris?
spot, right?
Lays down the ace, three-handed. Both players with a jack. It's one of those spots.
0.7 million in the pot.
I was gonna say we don't want to see a jack on the turn, or it's going to be
Right.
fireworks.
Goes check, check on both flop and a turn.
Rudolph continues to amass chips. Pipped him.
Now extending that chip lead. Christian Rudolph up to more than 19 million. Raise and take it again. Rudolph with more than $2 million in live tournament earnings.
King 10 on the button. Raise. Another jack 8 suited again for Hooney, but gives this one up.
Rudolph has been around the online high stakes scene for a while. Wattenlos. Know him by. Hooney raises here, and
There we
Shankar
go.
will just rip it with the ace jack. Take that pot down.
He's been folding the weaker aces.
Yeah.
He's done with that.
Three-handed at the Poker Players Championship, event number 70 of the 2020 World Series of Poker, hosted by GGPoker. Jeff Platt alongside David Williams. We're in the PokerGo studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we watch our final three fight for a first place prize of $1.8 million and that WSOP Europe package valued at around $15K.
First one to bet wins it. Not anymore.
Rudolph Rivers a queen.
He already had the best hand, but it makes it a little easier to play this river. No bluff raise river from Chris. Two more hands until the blinds go up to what I believe is going to be 2-4.
Yes. Rudolph wins that one.
And Shankar is out of time.
So there you see it. It looks like he's at a 5-second clock.
The overtime clock.
So if he needs to access his, so it goes to his time bank pretty quickly. That's tough, three-handed at a 25K final table.
What is it, 5 seconds per decision?
Yeah, so I think it gives you 5 seconds before the time bank comes on, and then you have 5 seconds to act if you're Shankar Pillai, your emergency clock.
He outflopped him. He's got the best hand. Oof, brutal river.
6-ball for Rudolph.
But if he continues to fire, he might, nope. And now Rudolph gets an easy showdown. he decides to bet. I think the way we've seen Shankar play, there's no way he's going to like turn this into a river check raise like we saw earlier.
Especially with 5 seconds to think about it. He does lay it down. Christian Rudolph with more than half the chips in play as the blinds do go up to 200K, 400K.
Big Hooney with, what is that, 25 bigs? Shankar a little less than 20. And Christian Rudolph over 55. Running the boys over.
Or we can say,
life is good on GGPoker if you're Christian Rudolph.
Exactly.
It's his tournament to lose right now. Commanding chip lead. Big Hooney.
Two-way straight draw for Big Hooney.
Is Christian Rudolph going to win another one with inferior holding? He's going to bet his way out of this one. We can see the cards. It most likely works. He checked it. Instant fold at the queen high. Another small big. This time he limps. Shankar's going to probably raise it up here with ace-jack. All in, and Hooney's got to fold. Doesn't have much time to think, so I think his decisions are going to be a lot more, like, I don't know, what, more defined. Less, no finesse with it. It's like, we got to just go with this one or fold this one.
Especially pre-flop when that clock starts right away. He has Queen-Jack here against the Queen-9 of diamonds for Christian Rudolph.
Surprised there's not a way to earn more back.
Yeah. I guess they feel like they give you, you know, a fair amount at the beginning.
I mean, this guy still has 4 left.
Right,
so.
right. Just case in point. So Chris Unikin, Christian Rudolph, Shankar Pillai, who will add their name to the list of Poker Players Championship winners? Who has taken down that prestigious bracelet? We will show you. It started with Chip Reese, the man whose name is now on the trophy. Past winners include Scotty Wynn, Brian Rast, a 2-time winner, but David, Michael Mizrachi, a 3-time champion, pretty strong.
Yeah, man, that's just, he's a legend. Yeah. He is an absolute legend, and everybody will tell you that. This is one of the toughest tournaments every summer at the World Series. Winning it once is just unbelievable. Winning it 3 times out of, what is that? It's 14 years on the board there? 3 out of 14, one guy?
Unbelievable.
Pretty crazy.
Usually played as a 50K mixed game event in Las Vegas, adjusted this year on GG into a 25K no limit event, 407 entries, a prize pool of $10 million, as was guaranteed by GGPoker, and we are down to our final 3.
Imagine if you're Michael Mizrachi and you ever want to play that event and you don't have your own 50,000. I imagine it's not hard to find somebody. Hey, I want to play this tournament. Oh, have you ever done well in it? I won it 3 out of 14 times. I think he's got no problems if he ever can't get his own buy-in of finding one. Incredible stuff. I kind of like the decision where this is the Poker Players Championship, but they're not going to put the name on the trophy because it's still different. It's only 25. It's not mixed games. I get it. I kind of like that decision to kind of do both.
We're still going to have it, but to David's point, the winner's name will not go on the Chip Reese trophy. And he raises it up here on the button.
Christian instantly gives it up. Ooh, all players with an ace.
Shankar will start things off with the ace-5 of spades, folds to Unikin with the ace-9.
He just rips it. He happened to have the best hand, but...
This is Chris Unikin's 4th World Series of Poker final table. The closest he ever was to a bracelet was in 2017 at the 5K 6 Max. He finished in 2nd for $358,000.
Second there also.
Yeah. So maybe he is the 2nd place guy, like he said he was at last year's Poker Masters. He's in 2nd place at the moment.
But he's king.
And Shankar's ace-9 on the button, and he'll just rip it. Here we go. Shankar Pillai will be all in and at risk with that ace-9 against the ace-king of Chris Unikin. Comes ace-10-8, backdoor straight draw is there. There is a jack on the turn, looking for a 7 or a 9 on the river to stay alive. We'll squeeze it. Well,
Could be a 7.
Oh, but it is a 6. A good squeeze at the end for Shankar Pillai. We say good game to him. Out in third place for $979,138.
Basically even. Small lead for Christian Rudolph. Will Chris Hooney get the second place monkey off his back?
Heads up for the bracelet, for the title at the Poker Players Championship. And we'll start with some fireworks right off the bat.
They both got about 40 bigs, and he flops a straight for Christian Rudolph.
Just flops the Stone Cold Nutter Butters. So it comes King, Jack 9 with 2 hearts.
50 bigs each, I think, right?
Yes.
204, yeah. About 20 million each to start. Check folds. Gonna feel good when you find out about that one. Now it's his turn.
Yeah, right now it's in with the Queen 10. Rudolph defends. It comes Ace King Deuce. Close. Just one more card for the nuts. Oh, and there it is with the Jack on the turn.
Queen 10.
And there it is. And it also gives Rudolph a pair of jacks.
Whose Queen 10 makes more money?
For 2.5 million, the snap fold from Christian Rudolph. And so now that we are heads up, that does end our giveaway. Boom, it is over. We will not utter the phrase, or we can utter the phrase life is good on GGPoker, but that does not count. So you have your total, and we'll let the GGPoker mods in the chat take it from there.
I don't know. Were you paying attention? 2 pair for Big Hooney with 6s and 10s, open-ended for Christian Rudolph here. Oh.
Almost pot-sized bet of 1.775 million.
Bottom 2 is a tough hand to play, especially on a board like this. And look at that river. Brutal for Chris Hooney.
Ace-high straight for Rudolph. How much does he look for here?
It is a 1-card straight, and it's not hard to see. So Big Hooney could theoretically get away from these 2 pair. It's very easy for your opponent to have an ace or a 9 in their hand here. You're effectively just bluff catching, right? It's my opponent. Your opponent's not value betting like a jack or a queen. Is your opponent bluffing? We haven't seen a lot of bluffs this final table. He calls. Find out the bad news. He got rivered pretty bad.
Does make the call. An 11.7 million chip pot heads in the direction of Christian Rudolph.
I mean, the board is Queen 10-6. You've got 10s and 6s, and you lose to the ace-9. That's got to feel pretty bad. It requires runner-runner.
This isn't great either for Big Hooney. So it comes 7-6-3, top 2 for Rudolph. Got shot for Chris.
I don't know if we're going to see any slow play here at a Christian. I don't think so. Yep. If you're Big Hooney, you're thinking, man, I can't make the right move here.
Rudolph the 10-3 spades on the button. Big Hooney down to about 25 bigs. Defends with the Queen Jack. It comes ace-9-9, 2 spades. Does go check. Blank on the turn.
I'd like to see a bet out of Rudolph here. I don't want to have to force myself to make a flush when I've got 10 high on this board.
He will bet 561,000.
Ooh.
Queen of spades on the river. Queens and 9s for Unikin, but the flush comes in for Christian Rudolph.
I mean, you couldn't have picked a better card if you're Christian Rudolph on the river there.
And he'll go with a pot-sized bet of 2.82 million.
Luckily for Hooney, his opponent bet pretty big. He might be able to get away from it. Can't beat an ace or a 9 or a flush. Yeah, he gets away from it.
He does make the fold, a pretty quick fold. Well done.
I think Christian there was targeting an ace or a 9 if his opponent had trips or top pair with a good kicker.
Rudolph with about a 3-1 chip lead. Both players looking for their first WSOP bracelet. That comes with a cool $1.8 million.
Wow, Rudolph relentless. His opponent,
deuces.
He raises out of the small with queen, out of the big with queen deuce. $1 million more after Hooney limps and flops top and bottom. I mean, the relentless aggression, but then hitting the flops, turns, and rivers is a deadly combination.
Ace from here, king 9 for Unikin.
I mean, this started even, and just like that, he's got Hooney down to 20 bigs.
And just goes ahead and rips it, takes it down. Christian Rudolph in complete control.
This is an assault.
It is indeed.
Hooney is totally handcuffed.
$468K pay jump from second to first.
He just
And
turns
why
the
not
left
turn
hand.
the
Why
king?
not? Oh, look, here's a little something.
Yeah,
so if I wanted to value bet you for like one blind, you can pay it off.
Goes pot size bet here. Another good fold by Chris Unikin. He is in some trouble.
He is just, he can't win a hand. Oh my, look at this. Both
They
players
both
flop a
flop a
9. I
nine.
mean, the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 9 on the turn.
Yeah. How about a 10 to give both an open-ended straight draw?
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like the kind of card to slow them both down.
Another 10 they will chop if they get to showdown.
10s and 9s with a queen. Oh no. Okay.
Okay.
I would not have been shocked to see a raise from Rudolph there to
that
just
hand
snatch
didn't
this
fall, yeah.
chopped pot. That was about the only way that could go down badly for
Right.
Chris, is to bet it and get raised.
8 more hands at this level. 4s for Rudolph.
Hey, he made progress. We got a chop.
That's true.
Got
That's
a
true.
chop.
That's true. It's turned around for Big Hooney.
And we've got a, look, he just flops a 4 here. I mean, Big Hooney takes a stab at it with a 9, but he just, no matter what he does.
Rudolph with the blocker bet lead here.
This has got to be frustrating if you're Chris. Big Hooney. You've gotten half a pot in the last like 7 or 8 hands.
Yeah.
Hey, there you
Yeah,
go.
he gets a walk.
Get a walk when you've got probably your best pre-flop hand you've had
Yeah, right.
like, since heads up
Unikin-
began.
And then get the 6 deuce. Unikin looking to turn the tide somehow, some way.
It's going fast and furious. 5 hands to the next level.
At about a 6-1 chip disadvantage.
There you go.
That'll help a little bit. It comes 9-9-3, 9's full. And Rudolph will stab.
Flop another boat.
Queen of spades on the turn. Rudolph does not have a spade.
And Rudolph is over.
Shut down,
He's
yeah.
done with it. Gonna get a little bet here, I bet. Yep.
Quick fold from Rudolph, much to the dismay of Chris Unikin.
He made a little bit. Tides are turning. We go 2 7s.
16 bigs behind. Just rip it in.
Okay. We got a streak going.
King Queen, he'll just limp in. Rudolph will check the 9 deuce. Comes King 8-3.
The comeback begins.
Comeback begins. Both players looking for a WSOP bracelet for the first time. You can raises with the bad stuff. Blinds are going up 250K, 500K.
So we've got about 40 big blinds for Chris, a little less. And 64 for Christian.
Unikin Unikin will check fold. We showed you second place finishes in the USPO main event, in the Poker Masters. He's finished second at the World Series before. He's called himself the second place guy. Hoping to turn this heads-up match around. He's got quite a bit of work to do.
Just a couple doubles.
That's true. Gets you right back in the game.
Doubles. But you got to
Right
beat the
back
guy who
into
can't
it.
stop
Yeah,
flopping
right.
the best hand.
And when you have middle pair with a king kicker, it's not going to be great for business for Chris Unikin. Check call, queen of diamonds on the turn, 2.8 million in the middle.
Oh no.
Rudolph firing 1.8 million. To hamper matters even more, Unikin's about to run
That's
out
what I
of
was
his
saying.
time.
Chris's
Yeah.
time bank. Oh, and he
check
shoves.
shoves here.
I wonder if the time bank was kind of an influencer. Like, you know what? I'm over this. Let's just get it in here. It's a tough call anyway. What's he going to do? Does he have a queen? The only problem is Rudolph might put him on some sort of flush draw.
Yeah, 2 on the board.
He's already got 1.8 in there. It's about a little more, less than 5 million to call. It's getting over 2 to 1. Your opponent could have a flush draw. I wouldn't be shocked to see Rudolph make this tough call. It's not easy. Hooney is not having it though.
Rudolph does call. Unikin will need a king or 4 on the river to stay alive.
Interesting spot. You love to watch this kind of thing in poker. You know, he gives it up.
Does lay it down.
There we go. Some momentum.
That's right, up to
Little
20
shifter.
bigs.
Whew.
And there goes the momentum. Does have the king of clubs, but the backdoor flush draw did not come in.
He does not want to catch a king on the river. What a shove though by Big Hooney,
Yeah.
right? And his time is out. So he's going to have that 5-second overtime clock, right? We've got spade draw, top pair, open ender against.
I think he'll be good here against the 5-high.
And he needs the offsuit 6 on the river to make the bottom straight. It's going to be tough to get there. Here we go. I mean, even his 9-4, he pairs.
Yeah,
He's
gets
got
there.
the best hand.
Queens and 9s now. Gut shot for Big Hooney.
4, 3, and that red clock ticks. It's just so ominous there, red. Just
Right,
looking at you like, you are in trouble, buddy.
Unikin will need to turn this hand into a bluff quickly, and he does. He bets 2 million.
I don't know about that one. Although Rudolph hasn't been calling a lot of bets. He's just been relentlessly
Sure.
aggressive, making his own bets. He's laying them down when he's facing them.
Made some big laydowns. Nice play by Big Hooney. Now has the queen jack of diamonds. That clock starts right away pre-flop. They both flop top pair.
It's going to be just what Big Hooney needs. Rudolph keeping the pot small.
Yeah.
Marginal hand. Top pair, but not a great kicker.
Unikin leads pot. Rudolph calls jacks and 4s with a queen. Is the best hand.
Full
Another
pot.
pot-sized bet, another call, and here comes Chris Unikin, working his way back into this match.
Looks like he's only down about 2 to 1 now. A little less than 2 to 1 now. He was down over
Yeah.
3 to 1.
6 to 1 at one
6
point.
to 1. And the best hand flopped again for Christian Rudolph.
Rudolph adds a gut shot on the turn.
And the time runs out,
Yeah.
and Chris's hand is folded. Two bad jacks. Rudolph is not giving up any buttons, I'll tell you that.
30 hands per level at this final table.
Hooney's 1 double from the lead.
Yeah. Gut shot for Rudolph. More than $1.8 million up top. Our final two guaranteed $1,332,097.
Now this is an interesting hand. He raised the button with 5 deuce, defended with the queen jack. Flops a gut shot and 2 overs to Chris's pair, but Chris has got bottom pair.
Another 9 on the turn.
Can Chris call what he does with bottom pair, and he gets drawn out on by the jack for Rudolph.
If all gets there, they go check, check. Big Hoonie will see the bad news. Rudolph back to extending his chip lead.
Any queen jack or 10. These players are looking for a nice little cooler for the other.
Rudolph will just rip with the ace-4.
Okay. Might be time to start limping some ace-9s, ace-10s. Trap your opponent.
Again, Rudolph chipping away at Unikin.
Yeah, Chris started to make some headway here, but
Chris does flop a 5.
Rudolph just keeps pounding. Can the 5 hold up? It can't.
Wow, 10
It
on the
never
river
ends.
for Rudolph.
It never stops. It's just relentlessly, just the aggression is just crazy when you combine it with catching the cards. Nobody pays it off.
What can he do in this spot? Christian Rudolph, his sights set on that $1.8 million first place prize.
And it's got to steam you up even more. You make this call and find out your opponent rivered you again. You're like, every hand, you just keep rivering me.
Getting a little tilting as Rudolph flops deuces here.
I would say he's staying composed, but maybe that turn rip with the king-4 was just, he was tired of it. He was tilted. He's like, you know what, maybe, who knows?
468K pay jump from second to first.
Wow,
Just can't get anything through. 9 on the turn.
Fires the bluff with the 8 high, gets called by the queen high, and the guy makes a 9 to make it easy. Now, he does pick up an open ender.
Doesn't get there on the river.
And I think we might see
give
a
up
bluff.
or go for it. With just 5 seconds to think about it, he's going to check back.
And he finds out, he's like, man, if you don't catch that 9, I probably win this on the turn. What is going on?
Well, here we go from Rudolph's perspective. Unikin all of a sudden down to just 7 bigs.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He had 16
really
million.
quick.
It feels like a few minutes ago, and then just a flurry of hands later, he's down to nothing. That horseshoe.
Yeah. Jack 7 of hearts, good enough.
Avatar.
Now down to 6 bigs.
He's going to be forced to go with something here soon. Wow.
Queen deuce for Rudolph. The 9-8 off for Unikin says no thanks. Down to 5 bigs.
Here we go.
King Queen versus Queen 10. So Unikin the one all in and at risk. In good shape to double up. 10 ball on the flop.
It just doesn't stop.
Unikin needs a king or a jack on the river to stay alive. Can we squeeze paint?
Nope.
We cannot. It's a 7 on the river. That will do it. Christian Rudolph has won the 25K Poker Players Championship for more than $1.8 million. Chris Unikin, second place again. That second place finish earns him more than $1.3 million. As we take a look at the final payouts, Christian Rudolph, the man on top, he earns more than $1.8 million. Big Hoonie in second, Shankar Pillai in third. Jason Kuhn entered the day as the chip leader. He ends up finishing in 7th place. David, pretty strong final table performance, to say the least, from Christian Rudolph.
I mean, he saw, right? He caught the cards.
Sure.
There's no denying that. He hit the 10 there. He was behind. But His aggression was just unbelievable. He played it right, and like if you noticed, he wasn't paying off the bets. He wasn't calling.
Sure.
He just was like, okay, I'll fold and go back to pounding on you, and that's what it usually takes to win these things. It's just well-timed aggression, making the right moves, folding when you're behind. He played great.
Yeah, he in fact made some quote-unquote bad folds. Just if we're being strictly
we see the
results-oriented.
hands, absolutely.
Right, because we're able to see the hands. But yes, his play was tremendous. Another second-place finish for Big Coon. He's got to feel at least a little disappointed. I mean, not that there was anything he could do, but it still got to hit him kind of hard.
I know how he's feeling right now. Granted, $1 million feels great. He's
Sure.
happy about that $1 million, but he's a competitor. It's not about the money. It's not about the million. It's about coming oh so close again. Another second place. You were almost there. And not only were you almost there, but you had just a string of unfortunate events. Every river, every turn, you just kept getting, it was just like, what could you do? He played great. You know, it was great for him to ladder up. He came in here 5th place, 6th place, and he got second, made quite a bit. I mean, he picked up 2 queens when he needed against one of the toughest opponents at the table with the ace-jack, and it held. So hats off to Chris Hooney.
Yeah, that second place finish, again, worth more than $1.3 million. All right, what do you think Jason Koon's feeling right now? Because he entered the day as the chip leader,
I'll tell you,
ends up eliminated in 7.
I don't know if he already made it to day 2 of the main event or if he's playing right now, but that's his focus. It's already behind him. This guy he's a machine. He's great. I'm sure he's disappointed, but I'm sure he's focused on the next tournament.
Okay, you said it. So let's transition to the World Series of Poker main event. It's a 5K buy-in. It's a $25 million guarantee. Tomorrow will mark day 2, where they play down to the final 40 players. That's when we will pick up coverage on day 3. Pretty fired up for this one. I mean, this is going to be the biggest online tournament in history.
Yeah, I'll be keeping track all week, watching what's happening, who's moving up the stacks, and I can't wait for next Saturday.
And we won't say that it has that top level, this is the World Series of Poker main event, the real thing. But this is a pretty good consolation.
I mean, listen, it's different, but it's real.
It's different, but
everyone
it's real.
says, oh, it doesn't count, whatever. This is what we were presented. This is what we have to play as poker players. This is the main event this year. This is what's there. Poker players didn't pick, oh, I don't want to do it. This is what we have. We play it. The champion is a champion.
That is right. That is the main event. This was the Poker Players Championship, and it was won by Christian Rudolph for more than $1.8 million. Thank you all so much for joining us on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. We will see you next week for the final day of the World Series of Poker main event. For our crew, for David Williams, I'm Jeff Platt. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Life is good on GGPoker.
Yes, it is.